I call this meeting of the City of Pahokee City Commission, regular meeting of Tuesday, February the 22nd, 2022 to order at 6:03 p.m. May we please stand for the invocation provided by Commissioner Mervin, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father God, in the name of Jesus, God, we come before you, God, to say thank you for another day. Thank you, God, for keeping us, God, throughout this day and covering us, oh God. Oh God, as we come today, oh God, to do the business of the city, we ask you for wisdom and guidance, oh God, and be with us, oh God, as we make the right decisions for our city. Help us, oh God, to do the right thing, oh God. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks. Oh, they're like stuck together here.
Thank you, sir.
That was the design, the girl.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Babb,
Present.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Present.
Commissioner Mervin,
Present.
Commissioner Perez,
Here.
City Manager,
Present.
Attorney,
Present.
City Clerk, present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, staff. And thank each of our residents for being here tonight to participate in our regular commission meeting of February the 22nd, 2022. At this time, we're going to just follow the agenda, but we will make one announcement. As you're all aware, our city attorney, Brandon Bird, passed recently. We have a new city attorney just for tonight sitting in and going to help guide us and make sure we're legally sufficient. And if you would, if you can just introduce yourself and your firm.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Gemma Torsivia. I'm with TG Law in West Palm Beach. I want to apologize so much for your loss. I know the Brandenburg family very well, so I'm very sorry. Thank you so much for having me here tonight, and I'm happy to be of service. So please, if there's anything I can do, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move along with the agenda as presented. The first item of business is the additions, deletions, and approval of the agenda item. City Manager, at this time, do we have any addition to the agenda?
No addition.
Thank you, sir. No addition, no deletions. City Commission, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, could we make an exception and move the proclamation for Isabel Teves McKinstry up ahead of all the resolution, the ordinance, and all that?
Okay. Do we have a second for that? Okay, it has been moved by Vice Mayor Boland and properly second by Commissioner Perez that we move the item of the proclamation for McKinsey up to the top of the agenda. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Babb.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote.
Mayor Babb, along with that, we also can move up the Palm Beach County Parks and Recreation and also the second chance to the top. So I know they come over from West Palm Beach, if we can move them up to the top also.
Okay. So we'll just cover all of our presentation and move them up with the first one being the McKinsey proclamation. Can I get a second on that?
Second it.
Then moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly second by Commissioner Gonzalez that we move the order of our agenda with the presentation being the first order of agenda. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Now we'll follow our agenda as presented with the addition of moving the items of presentation up to the top. The first presentation would be the proclamation for Ms. Elizabeth McKenzie. Isabel McKenzie. And we'll have our city attorney read it into the minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a proclamation celebrating the 100th birthday of Isabel Teves McKinstry. Whereas Miss Isabel McKinstry was honored by friends and relatives on the occasion of her 101st birthday on Monday, October 11th, 2021. And whereas Miss McKinstry was born in Honolulu, Hawaii on October 11th, 1920 to Charles and Marion Teves. And whereas Miss McKinstry married William E. McKinstry on June 22nd, 1942. And whereas Miss McKinstry gave birth to a baby girl named Joanne McKinstry on March 20th, 1944. And whereas around the year of 1946, the McKinstry family decided to leave Honolulu and move to the States. At that time, Hawaii was not yet part of the United States of America. They found themselves settling down in Pahokee, Florida. And whereas, upon arrival in Pahokee, they built their home on North Elm Street, had a son, William E. McKinstry II, and opened a business called Billy's Boats and Motors and a gas station, which was located across from the Prince Theater. And whereas, Ms. McKinstry is a survivor of Pearl Harbor and a 3-time survivor of breast cancer. She has been blessed to be surrounded by her daughter, son, 3 grandchildren and their spouses, 9 great-grandchildren and their spouses, and 1 great-great-grandchild that is due in April. Now, therefore, be it resolved on behalf of the City Commission and the citizens of Pahokee that by the virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of Pahokee, do hereby extend this proclamation of recognition to Isabel Teves McKinstry on the occasion of her 101st birthday, with sincere congratulations and best wishes for many more happy, productive years. Happy 101st birthday, Isabel Teves McKinstry.
At this time, I have a commissioner who would move for the proclamation to be presented.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Could y'all join me down? And Ms. McKenzie, if she can make herself forward.
She only takes a water pill. Come on, Marina. Get your tape. Here, miss. This right here. Move back up.
Ms. McKenzie, Mayor of the Drake City of Pahokee, on behalf of the Pahokee City Commission, Commissioner Sarah Perez, Commissioner Clara Mervin, Vice Mayor Regina Clothing, Commissioner Warren Gonzalez, along with our city manager, Greg Thompson, and our entire city staff. It's such a pleasure and honor to present this proclamation to you in celebration of your 101st birthday. I'm not sure you're aware, but the city of Pahokee will be celebrating 100 years of existence in Palm Beach County. And we're so pleased to recognize all our Centennial birthday residents in this community. And I would, at this time, like to present this proclamation to you in celebration of that occasion. It's such a blessing. We thank God for the longevity He has presented to you. We thank God for allowing you to be part of our community for all of these many years.
Thank you.
In addition to the proclamation, you are going to be the first recipient of our Centennial package for all, which will give to all of our Centennial residents.
Straight in the bucket,
We have a Centennial key change,
Got some goodies.
a Centennial gold coin,
That's yours.
a Centennial pen,
Under one. Wow. Could you imagine? That's amazing. Yes, that's amazing.
Thank you. Our next presentation would be the Palm Beach County Parks and Recreation. Thank you.
That's a hard act to follow, I tell you. What a wonderful family and wonderful proclamation to follow. That's very well deserved, and I'm glad I was here to witness that. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for the invitation to be here tonight, City Administrator. My name is Jennifer Cirillo. I'm the Assistant Director of Palm Beach County Parks and Recreation, and as you may know, along with your wonderful Parks and Recreation staff of the City of Pahokee, we also service your residents through our county park system. So we have several parks in the area. We've heard from residents lately what their needs are, including maybe more soccer than softball at Duncan Pageant Park, perhaps some areas to practice track, a picnic pavilion instead of racquetball courts, those types of things. So we do have some plans in place and some funding in place, more to come. But I've invited also our Director of Planning, Research and Development, Bob Hamilton, that'll share that with you. I do want to share one piece of good news. The Pahokee High School softball program uses one of our fields at Duncan Pageant Park. The other field, we found some donated goals and some donated nets. The goals are out there as of today on one of the outfields for soccer. And the nets should be installed in the next 2 days that were donated by an adult league in the county to the youth of Pahokee. So we're very grateful for that. And I'm going to invite up Bob to share a little more detail about our upcoming projects in the area.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So as you're aware, we've got 3 county parks here in the greater Pahokee area. You got Duncan Pageant Park, Canal Point Park, Community Center, and Triangle Park. I just want to start off by letting you know some of the projects, upcoming projects that we have planned. They total about $2.29 million between these 3 parks. First of all, Duncan Pageant Park, we have a picnic pavilion project, which is really the demolition of the racquetball court and the construction of a new 30 by 60 pavilion, as well as some additional minor improvements, which is under design phase right now. So we're hopeful maybe by the end of the summer that we're going to be able to move forward with that project. One of the bigger ones is a multi-purpose field conversion. So what we're looking to do is take that southern softball field, convert it over to a multi-purpose field. One of the issues that we have from a funding standpoint, specifically in the Glades region, a lot of my new development comes from impact fees. You know, these are fees that are paid by developers when they build new homes. We really don't have any impact fees necessarily for residential development out in the Glades region. So we're really reliant upon federal funding, CDBG funding. And so one of the grants that we're going to put in for here in March is at least $750,000 to be able to convert that softball field over to a multi-purpose field, which would involve repurposing the lighting, demolition work and a number of other items, one of which that we're hopeful to be able to do, if the design allows it, is to possibly put in a track as well. A small track, it's not gonna be able to be a 6-laner or a 5-laner, but if we can do it, we will do our best to try to move forward with that project. So, we are dependent on, I can't guarantee you that we're gonna get the funding for this. We've done a pretty good job here in the past with Glades projects, being able to receive that funding, so I'm hopeful we'll be able to get that $750,000 to move forward with the multi-purpose field conversion. We also have a restroom replacement project, $270,000 at Duncan Pageant, that's going to be moving forward here probably the latter part of 2023. Over Canal Point, we've got 2 projects that are upcoming. Outdoor restroom replacement, which will probably move forward here in the next couple months from a design standpoint. And then the community center restoration. So that's $500,000 right there. The original plan, I think, was to take down the community center and rebuild it. A, I don't think that can be done for $500,000. B, I believe the structure was constructed in the early 1950s. It's really a part of the community. We're going to do everything we can just to kind of restore it in place. So that project will be moving forward probably the latter part of this year, again, from a design standpoint. Final park is Triangle Park. We've got a restroom replacement job there, $270,000 is allocated, probably gonna be a little bit more than that. So those are the 3 parks that service this area. So again, a total of at least $2.29 million will be allocated towards these projects in the coming years. So just wanted to give you an update on where we stood on that. One of the things that I hear from the community, the Glades community as a whole, is the construction possibly of a dog park. And then, given the site situation of each of these parks, I don't necessarily know if it'll work. It's something that we are looking at as a department, and if there's a way. A lot of times with these dog parks, if or the ones that we built over on the east side, Lake Worth and down in Boca Raton, the pens are about an acre apiece. So it's about a 5-acre piece of property for these 5 pens. And there's heavy maintenance involved and whatnot. And so it's something that we're taking a look at. I just wanted to put it on your radar that if that's something that we can pull off down the road, that's something we'll certainly take a look at and see if it's a viable option to be able to do.
If I could, just based on priority, and I'm not saying that the dog park is not needed or wanted, but our next major wish list would be a pool for our community. I know Belglade is only 10 miles, but they're a population of 19,000, and that don't include even South Bay having to utilize their pools. So if there's anything, call a wish list. Please add that to Pahokee as a strong desire to have our children. I think the last time we had a community swimming pool has been at least 30, 40 years from me.
Okay. Very good. Maybe that's something we can work with the city itself on, possibly working on it from a land standpoint or whatnot to be able to do that. This is one of the issues. We are a bit land constrained with the properties that we do have here in the area, but something we can certainly take a look at.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep that on radar. And Mayor, if I could mention, until that day comes, we do have free drowning prevention coalition lessons.
Okay.
So Glades Pioneer Park Pool, if any of your residents are interested in participating, Drowning Prevention Coalition has vouchers that they can get lessons for free swim lessons, and we do lessons for youth and adults. So please, any way you can share that with your residents, that would be very helpful. We would love to see folks visit the pool and participate in those lessons.
Great. And these meetings are being live streamed, so it's going out
It
into
goes
the
out.
community.
The
And
message
we'll
is out.
also
Good, very good.
make sure we advertise it and promote it also.
Yes, thank you.
If I could. Is there anything that we can do to help expedite that CBDG?
Yeah, I think
Letter of support, anything like that?
We are going to put in an application here next month through the Department of Housing and Economic Sustainability, and they will review these projects. So anything you can do would be fantastic. I know that there's a lot of certainly needs from the county, especially from a housing standpoint, being able to construct more affordable housing. We recognize that, but we're hopeful that even with those needs that we'll be able to do. Well, fortunately last year we received, I believe, it was $850,000 for the playground expansion at Glades Pioneer Park. So we're hopeful to be able to serve the residents of the greater Pahokee area with this.
We do have a very good track record, but a letter of support certainly would not hurt.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And again, just to, go back to that multi-purpose field conversion. So the grant application is submitted in March. We should know probably sometime later this summer whether or not we're selected. Once we're selected, then we'll enter into a grant contract probably the latter part of this year. And then once that money is made available to us, then we can go ahead and move forward with design and procurement. Procurement of these federal projects was a little bit more difficult. We've got certain rules that we have to follow. So, I certainly pledge to you that anything that we can do to expedite this and get it forward, we realize it's a big need for the residents of Pahokee, and anything that we can do to try to move forward. But just be patient with us, just because these federal projects can be, not only from a paperwork standpoint, but, just all the other rules and regulations that we have to follow. It tends to be a little more difficult than if it's funded through other means.
Thank you.
I'd like to say something. As far as the pool, we have the support of the Palm Beach County School Board. They will be willing to, partner with us.
That's fantastic, and I think that's what it would take, would probably be a partnership either between the city and the school district and the county to be able to, unfortunately, the cost of everything, as you all know, is increasing significantly. We're gonna be, we have an all-compressed pool in Delray Beach that we're gonna rebuild, and we've just allocated $12 million towards that project, and it's to be able to do a pool, but also to do some water-based recreational activities as well. So, we're looking even for a smaller pool for the residents, something like Glades Pioneer. It's probably going to be in that $6 to $8 million range when it's all said and done. But
And we can certainly talk to the planning staff at the school district. Bob interfaces with them quite often, and we have an interlocal use agreement like you do with the school district. So we can talk to them to see if that might be a partnership possibility. But just so you all are aware too, every pool that we operate loses money. We subsidize every single pool. That's just the reality. Public pools are, money pits, they call them, but they serve a very important public purpose. So we just need to know that going in, that it's the construction cost, but also the cost to operate it that we would need to find. But the school district is a great opportunity to partner. They have pools at, I think Boca High has a pool, Lake Worth High has a pool. So they do have pools in their system.
And we're Wellington too.
Yeah. Oh, Wellington, yeah.
partner with the city.
Yeah. So we'll look into that. We'll talk to Chris over at the school district and talk to her planning staff and see if that's a possibility.
I'd like to thank you to meeting with me and Mr. Pickney. We had a great
Okay.
conversation. I was definitely encouraged after we left there, seeing the plans, and really appreciate you addressing Pahokee's needs. That park into a soccer field is needed, and anything else the county can provide. You have our contact information. Get a hold of us anytime, and if I could get that contact for those vouchers for the swimming lessons, that'd be great.
Absolutely. I'll forward those. Mike's an excellent partner of ours, and it's our pleasure to serve your residents as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for coming out to
Thank you.
provide those updates for us. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, we have the Western City Athletic League. Ronna Osborne, I believe, is going to be presenting.
Mr. Osborne?
Unfortunately, they're still in basketball practice.
Okay.
Oh,
So we'll now move to our Centennial Committee Chair, Dr. Patricia Wallace.
Well, good evening, everyone. Of course, I'm not Reverend Patricia Wallace. She was running late, so she asked me to step in the event that she may not get here on time. And I'm also here with Ms. Sanquetta Count, who is also part of the Centennial Committee. Just wanted to highlight a couple of things. As you know, we're coming up to the Centennial Day of Activities. The first event is our parade, which is supposed to be held on Friday, March the 4th, and it starts at 5 o'clock from Pahokee High School. And right now, I will refer to the ones who are part of that committee to give us update in terms of how many entries we have. And I know that's Josie and Ms. Regina who's planning that. So I'm not sure in terms of how many entries we have at this point.
I think it's like anything, we always end up with a bunch of them at the last minute, but we have a few. So we'll put it on. It'll be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where we are with that. The next thing I want to talk about is sponsorships. We have, the Marketing and Sponsorship Committee has done a wonderful job in terms of reaching out to local businesses and individuals to try to secure funds for the Centennial. The City Clerk has already given us information about who has already donated so far. I'm assuming she has shared that with you guys. We also are awaiting sponsorships from, also from Healthier Glaze, as well as Mr. Jonathan Mann, who's also going to be donating as well. And so right now we're still trying to secure sponsorships so that we can fund the activities for the Centennial. In regards to the Unity Breakfast, the Unity Breakfast is confirmed for March 5th. It will be held at First United Methodist Church in Pahokee, right across from the laundromat. It starts off from 8:30 to 10 with the breakfast, and that's open to the community. And then at 10 o'clock, there'll be a unity program where we're going to be recognizing and celebrating our residents who are 85 years and older. And we want to try to give them their flowers now because this is a big thing for them to still be here to witness Pahokee being 100 years. So we want to do that. We still need names because we don't want to leave anyone out. If you have not submitted to us any names, I will leave Miss
Warner.
Miss Warner, sorry, it's been a long day. So Miss Warner, I will give, you have my email address. If you can send it to the commission, if they know of anybody who we need to recognize, please get those names to me so that way we can properly recognize them. We did secure a caterer for the event. We submitted the invoices to Mr. Pinckney, so he should be processing that invoice for us to pay the caterer. That will be Cole Brothers. That's going to be doing the breakfast for that event. We also, I heard before as I was coming here about the pens and all the stuff that you was giving out earlier today, Mayor Babb. If you have some extras, we would love to have those.
Yeah.
We're trying to do some gift back for the.
Well, what I'm doing, actually, I'm gonna give one to the chair, and that will be presented to you all. And the additional ones is actually for the community. So those will be given out. But I have, after you all address, I just want to make a quick announcement and a plea to the commission as far as funding those items.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next thing we have is the Centennial Gala, and I'll turn that over to Ms. Count if she has any other additional updates.
Just the updates for the gala. We are ready. It's gonna be on the 12th. And tickets, we have tickets, and we're asking that the commission, community members, if you all would buy tickets to support the event. As you know, we didn't start off with a lot of funds, so we're using this as a fundraiser event. So the members of the committee, some have people that have made commitments, but we're also asking if the commission each can get some tickets to help us sell as well, because this is the community's event. So we're just asking right now, we got 200 tickets, and we just need to get the tickets sold. But other than that, everything else is in place for the gala.
Ms. Cowan, do you have them with you?
The tickets, no, I don't have the tickets with me. Reverend Wallace.
And I know she's coming later on, so
Yeah,
she'll have
so she'll have them with her when she comes. So that's the update for the,
What time is the gala?
it's from 7 until 12. And it's going to be at the Eddie Lee Rose Gym. And so we pretty much got everything pretty much.
So if anybody attending or watching can reach out to anyone on the committee or the commission to get tickets, correct?
Yes, yes.
Well, you talked about
And
the
the
sponsor.
tickets,
How many sponsors we have already?
But right now,
That have given already?
that's one count. Right now, we have 5 that has been submitted to the city, that in terms of they have received the payment. I know that there are pending payments because I just submitted our payment from Healthier Glaze, so you should be getting that, if not this Friday, next Friday. So I know that one, and one from Mr. Mann.
And Circle S Pharmacy turned one in.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You said Circle S? Okay.
So
Before we go, let me finish up the report so then.
Go ahead. I just had-
Thank
go
you. Okay. The next thing we have is the Centennial Day at the Marina. which is going to be held March 26th. That is going to include a show and shine car and bike show. Thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez, for helping us put that together. We also are going to be doing a fishing clinic. Muck City Angler has stepped up to the plate and is going to assist us with doing a fishing clinic from 9 to 12 on the day of the event. We're also in the process now of looking for entertainment, additional entertainment, as well as vendors. We just updated the vendor form, so if anybody has a business and want to be out there on that day, or any nonprofit organizations that want to pass out information and resources, you can. The form is actually on our Centennial page, and you can get it there. If not, we can. We're giving it to Ms. Warner, and Ms. Warner can send it out as well. Right now, the biggest thing is we need, as you know, time is not on our side, so we need to try to really get this thing going. So if you have any recommendations for businesses or organizations that want to be a part of that day, please get those names to us.
What's the time of that event?
Right now, the fishing tournament starts at 9 a.m. and it's going to be from 9 to dusk. So as soon as the sun goes down. Now, what would have been nice, if we could have ended up the day with some fireworks, but I don't know how plausible that is, just to wrap up the celebration on that day at the Marina. And with that,
And I just have one last.
that's it on my end.
And I forgot to mention, with the gala, Colin Walks has done a great job. He's working with students from the middle school and the high school. They have been going around videoing the more seasoned community residents that's 85 and older, and they are doing video clippings, and so they're going to put a nice professional video together to be shown at the gala as well. So if we're really asking to come out and look at all the hard work that our students have been doing, and they're putting the entire video together that's going to be shown during the gala as well.
And also for the youth were able to submit
Yeah, with the
drawings
shirts,
for
yeah.
the t-shirts. And so right now we're in the process of selecting the winner of the t-shirt drawing, which whoever wins will be receiving an award for that, as well as we're going to be printing those shirts to be sold at the Centennial Day at the Marina.
Yeah, it will be the shirt that's, everybody will wear.
The logo for the Centennial?
The logo,
Yeah.
yes. So we, everybody should have, we've voted now, and that's what we're waiting, and Thursday night we'll know who's the winner for those. So they came from Canal Point, Pahokee Elementary, Pahokee Middle School, and Pahokee High School. So all of the schools participated with the drawings, so.
Yeah, Ms. Eiffel.
Yes.
The steel band, they called me up and they told me they were not going to be able to come after all.
Okay.
They're scheduled to do three events in one location. So Mr. Mike Pickney and I made some calls today, and we got a couple people who are interested, so we're looking at that.
Make sure I get 10 tickets before y'all.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So the logo that's on the shirt, that's gonna be whoever the winner, that's gonna go on the shirt?
Yes.
And then you're gonna sell the shirt?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the participants, the students, we're gonna have a first, second, and third place winner. They'll be getting the shirt. They'll be getting a shirt as well. So there are some things that we're gonna be doing for the participants, the first, second, and third place
Yeah,
participants.
we're trying to engage as many residents to be involved in the celebration, because it's your celebration. And so we want to make sure that we're not going to be here when the next Centennial happens. So we want to make sure as many residents as possible take advantage and participate in the activities that the residents and community partners have been working diligently to try to put together to make sure that we have something.
I sent you mine. Did you get it? Okay.
And I think that's it.
Are we good?
Yeah, that's
Okay. I
everything.
think that
Right.
concludes our report.
And we want to thank the committee. You all have been doing such an outstanding job and working very hard to make sure this is a successful event for the entire community. So thank you so much.
But I still have a question, Mayor, and maybe I can ask Mr. Thompson on the sponsorship. Since we have, you said 5, so what is our total of what we have now that's funding the Centennial?
It's 20,000.
For what we were told was 20,000.
We was told it was
Right now it's
20,000.
20,000.
Yeah, it was 20,000.
Right, I'm saying, but with the sponsorship, we have that, that's money in the hand, right?
I haven't got that total yet.
She has it on.
And I have got some commitments, some significant commitments. They just haven't showed up yet.
So what I'm saying is, so we're right around the corner for the Centennial, which is almost a week away for the first event, if I'm not mistaken, which is what, March 4th, March 5th? March 4th.
March 4th is the first one.
Is the first event, so we're about a week away for the next, week and a half for the next, the event. So that's why I'm asking, so we're still just at the 20,000 as far as the sponsorship, that's all we have still working with besides what's committed, not given, but
Right.
just pending,
Yeah.
If we,
in hopes of getting.
so counting what we have, what the city has gotten in hand, that's $1,800. We don't know what Circle S gave.
$3,000,
1,000.
$3,050 have been donated as of now.
Yeah, Circle S gave 1,000.
Okay, Circle S, okay.
So we at $2,300, $23,000.
$23,050, yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back here again. So since we're only a week and a half away from the event, again, I think in the last commission meeting, we had asked that the city will go ahead and fund the event. Whatever you can, whatever that comes in as a sponsor, that's just something extra that we could use to something else to help defray the cost on something else. But again, this is the City of Pahokee's event. This is the City of Pahokee birthday. If it's my birthday, I'm not looking for someone on the outside to fund my birthday party. This is the city, the citizens of Pahokee. Why cannot the city itself just fund this thing and just so they can go? Because to me, they're working hard, which is good. Thank you for working hard, but can we just, just fund it so we can get people in just have so they can have some definite dates of what's going on,
What I would say.
and just blow it out the water.
If I may speak, what I would say, Commissioner Mervin, one of the things that I've been learning in this process is learning how to navigate through government, which is totally different than doing the stuff privately. One of the things we've come to the realization is to do stuff within the city, because what we did was any monies we receive, it goes directly to the city. But in order to use the dollars, we had to submit, like, for example, I'll use the gala for the catering. Anything that's over a certain amount, we had to submit X amount of quotes just for it to be processed. That was a challenge.
So if it's 700, that was one quote, and
You gotta get
if
three
it's,
quotes.
and we had to get 3 quotes, and if it's over, is it 1,000?
It's 2 over 3 and 3 over 700,
3 over 7.
So
Right.
which can be cumbersome.
So we realize that's been, I'm just explaining, that's been a very cumbersome process. So that's also put a delay on being able to pay folks quickly. So like right now for the Unity breakfast right now, we submitted the 3 quotes. So I'm anticipating that the caterer is going to be paid because we already submitted the 3 quotes for the so that way it can be processed. But like I said, we're the ones who are working on the committee, we're kind of almost like at the mercy of the city's process. And this is your process because you have to be held accountable for those dollars that whatever's spent, even though because we having the money coming directly to you. So these are some of the. I'm not making excuses. These are just some of the challenges that we've been facing in terms of trying to make sure folks get paid, making sure that things are being processed, and that we're following your guidelines as stated by the city.
And all that's good. That's perfect of the process. Again, there's no reason the city can't upfront a budget already of $50,000 or $60,000. There's no excuse for that. I understand how you doing it. There's a process. If I go in, if anything over this, I have to give the 3 quotes. That's the process. That's okay. But if the city itself is putting this on with the help of the committee,
Yeah.
that cuts out some of the process.
We would have to
That cuts out some of the process. Cause you have a city that has a budget here already. Then you have people that, okay, I can get this person, even though the 3 quotes, that's not a problem.
I got you.
But if you got a budget here already, which it should be, cause this is the city event, I'm not gonna change from that.
So right now, as it stands, of the
We're begging, sorry to cut you off, we're begging somebody to come and
Well,
pay for our birthday
I'll say,
event.
as far as the funding, the city has doubled it twice, and the funding is completely up to the commission. But even large cities,
Well, I
very,
think-
very
well, I
large
think, Mr.
cities
Thompson,
that have
in the
these
last commission meeting,
celebrations,
we asked to up the budget.
these celebrations are never covered 100% by the city, whether they have 50,000 citizens or 5,000 citizens. I'm not aware of one city that's completely funded something like this. It's always through fundraising.
Yeah.
But far as the funding for this is completely up to the commission.
Well, I think in the last commission, we did ask to up the budget for this, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it would take a motion.
And I think we did do I think we did a motion. I don't know what happened. Did we not do a motion to up it to $50,000?
No, ma'am, the motion was, and that was going to be in my report, the motion was for me to look in and see if there's any way we can take our ARPA funds and fund it. And I have looked into that, and there's no direct way that we can use it for that use.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that the city will up the budget to $50,000 so the Centennial can have a budget that they can really work with.
And in new business, that would be in order.
Well, that's my motion.
There's a second. I'll move to second that.
We're in presentations.
Doesn't matter, it's part of the committee.
It matters.
No,
It
I made a
doesn't matter.
motion.
It
We're
matters.
part of the committee report. This can be done under that report.
And there's a motion on the floor. And there's a
There-
second now.
Ms. Ifield, how much do you, in reality, how much, you know how much it would take more or less? How much more realistic?
We don't know. I know the gala itself is close to $10,000 itself, if not more.
Okay, so
the
it's
gala itself.
So the first tenant, you guys were covered then, right?
So,
There's a motion on the floor.
so right,
Oh, it's not even discussion. Yeah,
Oh,
we're out of
sorry.
order. Yeah, we're out of
There's a
order.
motion on the floor.
We'll move to question. We have a motion by Commissioner Mervin and properly second by the mayor. And we'll call for questions. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes, thank you. So the first 10 you guys are covered. The gala is the most important one.
Not the most, but it's the first big event that's coming.
Right.
First
I'm
big
saying,
one, yeah.
the majority of the funds from the city is going to the gala, which is a 10
it's actually
grand.
going to the gala and the unity breakfast.
And the unity breakfast.
Because the unity breakfast is gonna cost us, almost $1,500. So you're gonna be, $1,500 already are gonna have to be spent for the unity breakfast, and then $10,000 for the gala.
Okay, so you
Before
need-
get to the Centennial Day at the Marina.
So basically, you need 11.5.
And they've
And you already have it.
budgeted 20, so.
Yes, and the 20 is already covered.
For the gala that you're spending, how much you said it was the gala? 10,000?
We've submitted everything to the city, so I don't know if they put up budget.
Itemized, you have itemized what
I-
all you're
I-
spending?
yes, Pastor Wallace-
$10,000
yes,
in the
Pastor
gala?
Wallace have it itemized,
Yeah, because
yes.
I helped her put the, budget together so she could submit it to.
And what's your profit gonna be after you put in that 10,000?
So right now, as far as,
This is fundraising, right?
we're trying
Yes,
to
it's
raise
from trying to
funds,
raise
yes.
funds, yes.
Okay, so how much are you gonna profit?
But I don't have it in front of me,
Depends on how many,
but it also
depends on how many
Depends on
tickets.
how many tickets that we sell.
The goal is if we can get the majority of the tickets sell, and at least 95% of
We
the
would have
tickets
profited
sell.
10,000 back. We would have profited
will-
10,000 back.
Thank you.
But it's gonna take everybody
It's gonna.
Yeah.
selling
it's
these
gonna take
tickets,
everybody's
not
help, so we
just
would've
3 or 4
profited
people on the
10,000
committee. It's gonna
back.
take all of us to try to get them sold.
And so again, what
How
if you
many-
don't sell the tickets? What if you don't reach that 95% of selling the tickets?
Then,
And then it'll be for a loss. I mean.
Yeah.
So again, if you got this budget here, that's what I'm saying. If you got this budget here, we're in hopes. This is in hopes of selling 95% of tickets for $100. You're in hopes of that. We're in hopes that someone come in and drop, here's 3,000, here's 1,000. We're in hopes to that.
yeah.
But if we have this here, that extra stuff, that's just extra.
I think it'd be
Excuse
prudent
me.
for the city to address funding after the fundraiser.
I think it'd be really sad if the city was to vote no on funding a Centennial birthday for the city. that would be a very sad thing in the city of Pahokee.
Mr. Mayor,
This
if I might.
commission sit here and vote no on opening a budget for a centennial birthday for the city. It would be very sad.
Vice Mayor Murray.
Yes. It's my understanding that we have already approved 20,000. So your gala and
No,
your
it's the
Unity
city's
breakfast
gala.
are both paid. The money is already there. So that's still, if you don't make a dime off of anything, you still have $8,500 left over of the 20,000 we've already budgeted. So I'm at a loss as to what you need more money for.
You're forgetting,
Okay,
you're forgetting all of the other days when they have other events and other vendors.
The
that-
parade isn't gonna cost
You,
anything.
I didn't say just parade, I said you have other events,
the
where
Centennial
you have
Day at the
other,
Right, so the Centennial
let me
Day,
just finish what I'm saying.
yeah.
And you have other, entities that's there, that's requiring, I don't know what their budgets are.
We don't have, well, we don't I wish we would have had it in front of us with the itemized on there, Commissioner Boland, but it is because we gotta still pay for the shirts. We gotta still purchase the shirts that has to be sold. So because we don't have it here in front of us, I'm not sure if Mr. Thompson have it where, Reverend Wallace sent it to you or not, but, we'll make sure that he gets that, but everything is itemized.
Right, but I'm saying you already have 20, and now you're just saying, Ms. Warner said that you've picked up another $3,050, so you have $23,050. And I don't understand what
So
what
maybe
the
when we
extra
get the
money.
itemized budget and you can look at it and then maybe you can see, what all that's on there
So
for.
again, what are you losing? If your budget is 50,000, what are you losing if you don't use it?
We're not losing anything.
The city won't be losing anything, am I correct? You just
Right,
got
no,
a
because
budget.
we're only, because everything that, we don't have control of the funds. So it's not like we're getting the money, everything is being submitted through the city. So we're not dealing with the money at all. So if that's a concern, we're not dealing with the money. All the money is coming through the city.
So if
we-
the budget is
We understand
50,000,
that.
and you're not using all of it, it's still with the city.
Well,
So the city-
I think
so
in
the
that
city is
budget they
actually
have-
not losing.
I think in the budget, they have just 25,000 plugged in for that day,
For what day?
the day of the
The
28th.
Centennial Day.
Because you-
25,000 for
here's-
what?
Here's the thing, if you're gonna do a Centennial Day, hold on, if I can try to explain it,
Plus the gala.
and if I'm out of order, I apologize, but I think we need to get some clarity in terms of,
So we're already 35.
for us to pull off these events, we are already operating at a disadvantage because we started late. So we're trying to play catch up and trying to make the best out of a limited situation. So the 25,000 we anticipated for the Centennial Day at the Marina, we were looking at every possible scenario that we can have that includes entertainment, food, live,
But wouldn't
ride-
the-
hold on,
okay.
Commissioner Bo. Live rides for the kids. I'm looking at it from the standpoint,
Yeah.
if anybody has been to Black Gold, and you look at how Black Gold does their events, when they have the airboat rides, they have the helicopter rides, they have the,
But all those things are paid for by the people who pay to ride.
not everything though.
The airboat and the helicopter rides are.
Like if you talk about like the bounce houses, the carnival rides and all this stuff, that is not paid by the people, that is free for the residents. So the thing is, the other thing too is, this is a celebration for the city, and we're trying not to tax the residents
Right,
no more
what
than
are we giving
absolutely
them?
necessary
Right.
because,
Right
and
now,
try
we're
to
charging
make
them
it
for
that-
everything.
We want to make it to, as affordable as possible so that the community can engage and participate. We're not saying that the residents should pay for something, I'm not saying that at all. But at the same time, it has to be like a give and take. But what I'm saying is, when we put in that budget for the Centennial Day at the Marina, we were doing that budget trying to anticipate what possible expenses that we would have and making sure that we had the money to cover for it. That's why it went at $25,000.
I got one question.
Yes.
Originally, you had budgeted $4,000 to pay vendors to give out food, and now I see we're charging vendors $100.
That changed,
Okay.
yes.
Right.
Keep in mind, as we said, this was a tentative budget. we tried to put as much that we could think of on there in terms of what we can do to make sure that this thing is pulled off successfully.
No, I think the latter is a better idea.
Yeah.
I was just asking
Yeah, so.
if some were and some
Yeah,
wasn't.
and I don't know what's the most recent budget, because I provided, Reverend Wallace with a draft because you requested it, and I know she updated it since then. So I just wanted to make sure, that, I
So-
don't know what's the most recent.
If you say it costs $25,000 for that day, and you've spent basically 11,000, give or take 11,500, right, you have 23. So you have 12,000 of the money that you can spend on that day.
Okay, but the other thing, I hear what you're saying, Vice Mayor Bowler, but I'm also being a realist in terms of anticipating all those unexpected. You can decide how you want to do it, but in my experience of planning events, you always got to prepare for the unknown. And so, and given the fact that we had limited, and Ms. Karen, correct me if I'm wrong, given the fact that our time was limited in trying to pull this together, first of all, kudos to this committee. I'm not a resident here. I'm from the Glades, but I'm not a resident here. But to see the residents that came and stepped up to the plate to try to even put this together, kudos to them. And they've been working hard to try to make sure that we had something for this celebration. So I would say kudos to them. At the same time, because the other thing too, you got residents that are interested and engaged and want to do something for the city. The worst thing you can do is try to do something that will discourage them from being involved further. So whatever decision you make, as a commission, you make the decision. If $25,000 is too much, you can reduce it if you need to, but I'm telling you, if you go that route, I'd rather have more, and then if we don't use it all, then at least we know we had what we had to push.
I hate to
Because,
count the eggs before they hatch, and I didn't want to say something without having a check in my hand, but I have got some corporate sponsors that have obligated some money. We just haven't
Okay.
got it yet, and it would be a significant amount. And I have one more meeting with another company this week.
Because right now,
The issue that I have is like you started with 10,000, then it was up to 20.
We started with 5.
5.
And we doubled to 10.
With 5, 10, now it's 20, whatever. It seems to me like the first thing that should have been done was the shirt order, the tickets order, and start selling that that was like the first thing that you do with the money that you have.
but it had to go through a process, Commissioner Perez. The
process?
kids we had to be fair and give the kids an opportunity to put their drawing together. We couldn't just say, okay, we're going to start ordering shirts. We wanted as many of the residents to be involved as possible. So when you say put the ticket order in first, it went through a process. It was not just a one person that was able to make all the decisions. Everything went through the committee, and it was a process that took time, that something probably should have started last year. So we tried to do it like that, but we're letting you know.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the
when we got-
T-shirts was kind of developed through the committee process. It wasn't first, the gala was first
Right.
as a fundraiser, and the T-shirt
Exactly.
idea came along,
And
as it
then
went.
when we hit the road, not the roadblocks, because we didn't know this up front, we needed to get 3 quotes for everything. So that kind of put us back.
Yep.
So we put what was coming up first. We organized priority first. So we did
And
that.
that's how you deal with, I mean, they do it all over the place, but government, you need multiple, quotes.
And that's
You
fine,
don't
we
just
understand
marry
that,
the
but what I'm
first
saying, it
quote
wasn't
that
told to the committee at first. Everybody don't understand that.
It wasn't expected.
It wasn't explained to the committee in the beginning, that's all that we're saying. It wasn't explained. Some of us knew that, but we had not gotten the word from the commission or the city manager that we're gonna need you guys to do this until we started the process, and then we had to go back and regroup to try to make it
And
work.
I must say, I've asked Mr. Pickney to step in and walk the committee through this process. It's if you haven't been involved with it before, it's very cumbersome. And I appreciate him stepping up and working with the committee, staying
And-
late on the meeting nights and working with them, helping with the quotes,
Yes.
getting quotes.
And-
He did a great job.
Right, and also remember, we've had a struggle, one staff person to do all of the work. So that's another concern that we've been having. We have one
Again-
person who's been out for a while, so we wasn't able to get anything done for a while because there was no staff to do the job.
Again, the motion on the
So-
floor is to provide funding, city funding, up to up to $50,000. That don't mean that $50,000 would be given directly to the committee. It would be money set aside that in the event that this activity or this event costs up to that, they would have the funding to pay for whatever activities they're planning.
So
I have a question.
I'll give you a perfect example. For the fishing tournament, we were informed at our last committee meeting that the Rotary Club was gonna move to doing their fishing tournament on April 9th. So we had to, as a committee, come together, because we put it out there in the community that we were gonna do a fishing tournament.
Correct.
Or some type of fishing activity. So we reached out to local folks in the area, and Mud City Angler stepped up. And so, whereas the Rotary was paying for all the expenses for the poles, the fishing tackle, and all that stuff, but when we had to go and find somebody else to do it, then now that's an additional expense we had to incur because we had to pay for him to provide that training, provide the supervision of the kids, as well as provide the poles, the tackle boxes.
Everything,
And
yeah.
so that's additional monies that we didn't anticipate it on, but now we gotta come in and now try to figure out how to pay for this. So it's just, there's a lot of, sometimes when you're planning this stuff, and given the fact that we started so late in this process
Right.
to start planning these activities, these are some of the roadblocks and some of the challenges that we've been having.
I see it's kind of evolving.
But it's starting to get some momentum, it's starting to move, but the thing is right now, the committee is ready to move. So it's just more of making sure when we get the stuff to you, then it's processed quickly and then we can do, get that.
My concern with this motion is trying to get sponsorship. If sponsors believe that it's fully funded, they have no incentive to
You're not
donate.
going to get any money.
It's hard to get money out of some people, and their money says extra. They think of their donation is going to be extra spend. What is extra?
Again, Mr. Tubbs, I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
Ms. Ifill, let me get to my question, Mayor. Mayor, I never got to ask my question.
Okay.
Ms. Ifill. Question. Let me get this right. So we had 25 plus the 10? So we had 35?
We're looking out for the city, that's why we were elected.
No, I'm saying, how much do we have total from the city?
$23,050
No,
is the
20,000
total
from the
they
city,
have.
and then we
From the
got
city,
3,000
$20,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
From the city, it's just
So far.
20,000, not 30,000. Total. So okay, it's just 20,000. So realistically, you just need more or less than 15 grand? That's what you're looking for, aiming for, is another 10 to 15 grand. It's basically not the whole 50. Because me and Pickney already did the numbers, and you and I already talked about the numbers, so it's really less than 30, to be honest. It's nowhere near 40 or 50.
Like I said,
Whatever they decide.
I think in the next 2 weeks they'll have 15.
so.
You
Because
think
right now,
you'll leave it 50?
you can't
So we need
guarantee
the
how
50?
many sponsorships you're gonna get.
I think
So,
I get 15 in corporate sponsorship.
So if you don't know how many sponsorships you're gonna get, the only thing you can rely on is what has been budgeted for. Whatever has been, whatever the sponsors give is pretty much like gravy. But but in order to operate it, you gotta operate based on the budget that you have given.
Well,
So,
sponsorship is hard work, and I think you are finding that out.
Oh, yeah, we all been trying to.
Yeah,
all
we
been trying to-
can talk about this all night, or we can move forward. We have a motion on the floor.
Are you comfortable
We
with
have an
35?
opportunity for questions. Are there any additional questions to be asked?
Are you comfortable with 35?
The motion is for 50.
It's up to 50, right?
The 50,
So,
that's the
yeah.
motion.
whatever you give us, we will take it.
Whatever the motion
I
is.
don't think we should, up until we get to the, if we need it after all the donations, then we could revisit.
Okay. We're going to move this motion forward, whether it pass or fail, at least we give an opportunity to ask. That's all we can do, or that's all the committee can do, is ask for what they feel they need. And it's up, right now, it's up to a 50, not directly given to them. The city would still have control over the expenditures. They would still need to submit invoices. He would still need to approve any invoices to be paid. So it's just a matter of them being comfortable knowing they have a budget. No additional question. Are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Boland,
No.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
No.
Commissioner Perez?
No.
And that's very
Can I,
sad. Now,
hold on.
I'm-
Can I put a
Mayor,
motion? May I put a motion in for an extra to 35?
Now, before y'all go off the deep end, we
Commission-
have said that when the time comes, after all the donations are in, if money is needed, we will revisit. I don't agree in putting 50,000 out there because we're not done collecting the donations or whatever it is.
Commissioner Gonzalez, I believe, want to make a counter motion. I'm not sure, but I'll give him the floor.
Yes, can I ask the commission to go up to 35, and we'll see within 2 weeks or whatever we need, and come back to it? No, that's already covered. That's where everybody's confused. We already got that covered. They're talking about the main day. That's on the 26th. That's what they're talking about.
Put it in the form of a motion, Commissioner, if
How do
you
you
would
do
like.
How you-
You move to,
You have to have an actual budget. You don't
Yeah.
just think, well, I think I'm gonna spend $25,000. You don't do that.
Do you have a budget?
You have to have
She-
an
he-
actual
he
budget.
has a budget.
And you have to
Make-
have the money
make-
for the budget
make
to
make the,
pay
co-
to
make
do
the
thing.
comment during a questioning. You can present that if you think it'll influence the outcome of the vote.
Okay, may I make the motion to go up to, bring the budget up to 35,000?
Yes.
Total, not an additional.
No, not additional, up to 35,000.
Is there a second for that motion?
Second, Tosh.
Did you second, Mervin? I'm not hearing
No, I
you.
did not.
I'll second that motion. The motion is on the floor by Commissioner Gonzalez to increase the Centennial budget up to $35,000. It has been properly seconded by the mayor. Call for questions.
I have one. Where in our budget are we supposed to pull this out of? Well, it's not in our budget. We had a budget where we accounted for every dollar that we were taking in this year. And we gave them money, we doubled that money, and we've doubled it again. So where are we supposed to get? Please be quiet, I'm trying to talk, please. So, I'm just looking in the audience. Please be quiet.
Okay, I can answer that. We have several staff that haven't been replaced over several months. We have an economic and community development director that haven't been replaced. We have a finance director that haven't been replaced. We have a grant position in the budget that haven't been performed. So just using those salaries
But
over the
then we have to
last,
do a budget amendment
yes.
to move that money into something we can spend. We can't just spend it.
Well, you ask where it can come from. I'm just giving you some suggestions where it can come from.
Right, but we haven't moved it.
You
We
don't
haven't-
have to move it to move this motion. That's where the money could possibly come from. Then you have a city manager who have ability to look throughout the budget and see if there are some additional areas where it can come from. I'm just putting that out on the table where the possibility it
Right.
can come from.
And also, you have a whole staff that's not there, economic development department.
Yeah,
A
he
whole
just said
department
that.
that's not there. Yeah, you have to move it, you have to amend the budget, but like the mayor said, you can make the motion, vote on it, and then the city manager and the finance, whoever the finance person is, can move those, then it comes back to the commission to approve it. That's it.
I personally feel like we have plenty of time after we've done some fundraising to see how much money we're going to take in. And I agree 110% with what Mr. Thompson said, that people are not going to donate money if they think this thing is funded. It's when you're in
You don't
need
pay
is
for
when
the
people
entire
donate
thing,
for
you just
fundraisers.
pay part of it, because you don't pay for the service until after it's rendered.
Okay.
So.
If you've got the money
you're
to
not
go
paying
through the
everybody
gala.
now before the event happens. That's not how it goes.
Any additional questions? Just want to make sure everyone had an opportunity to
Yes, one
say
thing,
their
Mayor.
question.
Again, they keep saying that the vendors is not gonna put money if you pay for it. If they don't, I'm so fired, this is our.
We need, okay. We're gonna move this motion one way or the other. Are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Boland?
No.
Commissioner Mervin?
Yes,
Commissioner Perez?
No.
Thank you. Motion passed by 3-2 majority vote. The budget of the Centennial Committee would be increased up to $35,000. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just hate to prolong this, but since it's dealing with the Centennial, I need to make this presentation quickly to the City Commission because it's dealing partially with the budget of the Centennial. So you know what you're being asked to at least authorize the city manager to pay for. It's these souvenirs, the pins, the lapel, the keychains. Your invoice at $2,340. Each of our Centennial residents will get one of these, and each of the residents who attend any of the Centennial events will not receive all four, but at least they would have a choice of one of these items. We'll have to have some type of tracking system so that the residents don't receive more than one item until they at least distribute it out to the community. This invoice was submitted because previous city managers, at least two, had agreed that the city would pay for these items because it was related to the Centennial. This has been a project that's been ongoing for at least a year. They came back before the invoice, and the city manager at the time say that it was the mayor's responsibility to pay for the items. So I'm just asking the commission as a whole if these items can be authorized so we can turn them over to the Centennial Committee so they can distribute them in the means that they would like to have them distributed.
Who's LL?
LL?
Yeah, it's ordered by LL. Who's LL? This was ordered in
Oh, I don't know why it's quick. I
Las
guess that's one of the representatives of the company, LL. I actually ordered the item. I helped with the design of them and what we felt we would want to distribute. And I will just pass this around quickly. I'm asking you not to take them out, but you can at least see what's going to be presented to the residents when they come and participate in the program. So my request to this commission is that we authorize the city manager to pay this invoice so that it can be.
This hasn't been paid yet?
No, that hasn't been paid.
How long have we had this?
And I'm not sure, we can ask the city manager too, I'm not sure.
Since last year?
The reason for the refusal of paying it, maybe because, I'm not sure. I don't have any
At the
idea.
time that I seen this, I think it was October, the budget was $5,000, and this didn't come to the city, and it would have taken half the total budget at the time. But it is at the pleasure of the commission if you wanted to cover this, and it would come out of the Centennial budget.
So we make a motion that the $2,340 be reimbursed to, it goes to you, Mary, because you paid for it.
No, I
It's
haven't
not
paid
paid.
for it, it's still
They're not paid for
outstanding.
yet.
Yeah, it'll go directly to the
Okay,
company.
so we make a motion that the $2,340 for the Centennial packet be paid through the Centennial budget.
Second it?
It has been moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Gonzalez that the invoice for the Centennial celebration pins be paid by the city.
And who are these going to? Who are they going to? I'm
Who are
sorry,
they
go
going
ahead, go
to?
ahead, go ahead. I'll make my question.
Okay. Call for questions.
I have one. You said that we're going to hand these one thing out to each person. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, there's only 8,050 pieces. We have 6,000 people
Once
in
they
the
put
city.
it in a package,
No,
No,
the
he's
package is
saying-
for the commission, so you'll know the items, but we're gonna do it as much as possible till they run out. That's why I need to have some type of system where we can kind of keep track of who received certain items, so
Can you-
you don't get a duplication, as much as
that's
possible.
950.
Mr. Chair, can we make sure that the committee gets them?
Yes, absolutely. That's who they'll be turned over to, and they may have some other means of distributing, but my hopes and guess was at least the resident who participate in certain events would at least be able to receive
Yeah.
an item.
If I may say, even to our sponsors, they should get one?
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Okay.
Yes. They should get a package before items, yes.
Okay.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for a vote?
Oh,
Go ahead.
wait, I have another question. Where'd the committee go? Are they still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Was Ms. Ifill left? Okay.
Ms. Ifill.
Ms. Ifill's gone, right?
No, she's coming.
Oh, she's outside?
I think she
Oh, okay.
stepped out for
All right, I'll wait for her to come back in.
I gave each of the commissioners their vote.
Sorry about that. You almost made a clean getaway. Yes, ma'am. My question to the committee is, we just gave you extra money, and now we're talking about taking back $2,340 for this stuff. Am I understanding it correctly? That's what we're talking about, taking it out of the money we just allocated to them, correct? So I guess my question would be to the committee is, are you all okay with that?
Yes.
They still got 1,200,
Yes.
12,000 to
We
work
need the
with.
items. Did you see the items?
Because what Mike Pickney already discovered is that we still need to get a state, what's that thing called when they perform, the musicians perform on top?
Stage.
The stage, thank you. That is costing more money, and it's about almost 10 grand altogether with the musicians. So that itself speaks a lot.
Well, I mean, my only,
You gotta flatbed and make it
Yeah.
into a stage, you gotta be
Improvise.
creative.
yeah,
Improvise, yeah.
yeah, I think that's probably what,
You
something
got
like
two
that.
flatbeds, put them together, and you got a stage.
Yeah, they told us we need a 20 by 20.
Yeah.
And a 30 by, either 20 by 20 minimum.
That's
Yeah,
a
it's 30 by 30.
$10,000 stage,
Yeah,
not entertainment.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been looking into stages.
right.
Yeah.
But my question is, and it's to the committee again, you guys are put through the process of having to get 3 quotes on everything, and if we spend more than $700, which this obviously is more than $700, and not that I'm trying to not pay anything, but my thought is, y'all had to go through a whole process, and then this
That's true.
just,
But this was approved last year, whenever Lucas, because I remember being at the
But they
commission.
still would have had to come through the committee and do the
Yes, it
same
did.
process.
Well, can I finish?
Yeah.
I remember this happened at a meeting. This was before Thompson even got here. When they started talking about planning for the committee, that they were going to order items. It came before the commission, and I'll go back and look at the meetings where it was approved by the commission to order little giveaways for the community. So it did come before the
remember
commission.
that.
But that's what I'm saying.
The original
think so.
question, though, has been answered.
You don't need a
There
motion on it.
actually would be presented these items to distribute however they feel it will be appropriate. They have no problem with this 2,300 coming out of the 30, up to the 35,000.
I understand, but what I'm saying is everything they're having to buy has to go through the quote process. That's our
We
process
understand
in the
that.
city. This did not.
Huh?
This didn't have 3 quotes.
No, those special items made, no.
No.
you all have to look at how you want to do this and vote the way you feel you want to vote.
So
But the
this is
committee
what
have
it
already,
The way that it's supposed to be done, not the way that we want to do it.
Yeah.
It's the way
So let me
that
ask
it's
a
The
supposed to
process is the
conduct it.
process.
So let me ask the question. So if the commission decides not to pay for this, then these items, so my question would be, so, because we're not gonna have time to go and get 3 more quotes and someone can start making this by, March 4th. Remember, our first event is March 4th.
is the parade.
And we're not going to be able to get anybody to get these done as quick.
But our process is our process. We can't just
My
do away
thing
with the
is that
process
it's the
because,
history of the city that everything gets done and then you come back.
and
Now,
say,
I'm not
okay,
saying
it's
you.
emergency.
It comes back and it's an emergency because we're out of time, because we're this,
Right.
because of that, because it's not done the way that it's supposed to be done, at a timely manner that it's supposed to be done,
Okay.
and with the procedure that is supposed to be done.
Okay.
That's where we're coming
We-
at. It's a history, and this has gotta stop.
Yeah.
Because we're not gonna keep approving things that are after the fact. I know this is already done,
Well-
it was ordered, whatever you guys think, if it comes out of the
Okay.
budget, it comes out of the budget. Y'all are fine with it,
Okay.
but it's not gonna happen again. I'm not
Okay.
gonna approve anything
Okay.
after the fact.
But may I just ask one question, Commissioner Perez, and I don't mean no offense, but we got the locks changed and we didn't get 3 quotes. We got a new IT company, we didn't get 3 quotes. So I understand what you're saying.
And those
This
were all
is-
emergencies.
That was not an emergency.
They were definitely
And
emergencies.
well, we're not gonna get into that, but I'm just saying.
Doesn't matter. It was an
Okay.
emergency.
I'm just,
Has
Okay.
nothing to do with
We-
this.
I'm just saying.
we're gonna
this
move,
is
we're
for
gonna
the
move, we're gonna move
community.
it forward. We have a motion on the floor. We have called for questions. Are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin,
The vote is
The
to
motion to
have
pay it
these
or not.
items paid for, and they will be given over to the Centennial Committee to use appropriately as they see fit.
And it's coming out of
The
budget.
35,
budget,
yes,
yes.
their budget. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bowling,
No?
Commissioner Perez,
No.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passed by majority,
Thank you.
3 to
We
2
just
vote.
saved us some work. Yeah, this saved us a lot.
Thank you all. Thank
We
you.
needed that.
Okay, we're gonna move now to citizen comment, public service. I'm sorry, we still have one.
Second
Second
chance,
chance.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Freeman, is he here? Second chance? I don't see him, we'll move on.
And we cannot get a hold of Mr. Osborne, he's still busy, so
Okay.
we can move on.
Okay, now we'll move to citizen comments, public service announcements. All items on the agenda, 3 minutes, please. City Clerk, at this time, do we have any comments card completed?
Yes, sir. Mr. Richard Brown.
Richard Brown, 303 Carissa Drive, Pahokee, Florida. And this is to the commissioners and Mayor Bab. Are you all aware that the city manager of a predominant black city has a coffee cup that has the logo, "Don't Tread on Me"? That's it right there. He is using this, he's using,
It's called the Gadsden Flag. It dates back to the Revolutionary War.
see where it says, "Don't tread on me"? For those of you all that don't know that, this is a logo is used by the Ku Klux Klans. Pull it up on your phone, pull it up on your phone. I'm surprised that all y'all haven't seen that.
It's called the Gadsden Flag. Do your history.
Pull it up on your phone. Just pull it up. I'm not gonna go into a long debate. Pull it up on your phone and see what "Don't Tread on Me" flag means, and it represents the Ku Klux Klan. And I would like to get a response from that, but anyway, last but not least, to the registered voters of Pahokee, we need to come out and vote and take back our city. We need to take back our city. So that's for the voters, the registered voters. And pull up that cup.
Thank you. Are there any additional comments, cards, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Mr. Otis Harvey Jr.
Otis Harvey, 1940 Belka Point Road, Pahokee, Florida. I had a lot to say, and I got it written here on my phone, but I don't need this phone to say what I gotta say. And by far yet, you can see that as of now, it's a big difference, but we still got the same things that's going on here. And y'all got to understand, everything that is to be done, the business in here is the business of the people of Pahokee, not your personal, because number one, these people stood right here, for instance, of an example of what I'm telling y'all about. They stood right here and practically almost had to beg y'all to do something for the city of Pahokee. Now, suppose they just said, well, then, if y'all don't want to do it, then do it yourself and walk away. Then what we were going to do? We already don't have nothing here. What do we have here? Look at the Christmas parade. Man, I was born and raised in this town. I seen it all. We had Chevrolet dealership, Ford dealership, sideline car lots and store. We had it all here. And everything left. Everything ain't nothing here. And then we debating on stuff that not as important things that need to be done in this town. I mean, we had things in place on the road, got started, got in motion. Hit stop, stood still. For the last 9 months, this city just started moving a couple of months. And it ain't fair to the people of Pahokee. And then when you're making a decision for something as an event of the bicentennial, I mean, by example, the lady came up for her 100th birthday. She ain't had no problem at all. We gave her flowers, we gave her ornaments, we decorated her. And I mean, that was something well. And I mean, that was something good for the city. I mean, and opening up to everybody else. I mean, let's set out on some plateau for moving forward. Let's not go backwards. It's not us against them against us, all that kind of stuff there. That's not good for this city.
Amen.
We dead. This is the worst I ever see this city. Now we need to do something better than what we doing. Don't try to take away nothing, give some. It's already nothing.
Give what you have.
No, I don't, Sarah, me and you is straight. Don't take it personal. You don't have to respond to nothing. I'm talking to everybody, not nobody specifically. You got to vote. So, you know, come together more for the people and not for yourselves. I'll rest my time.
Thank you.
Can I respond now?
He didn't direct any question towards you.
He didn't ask a question, but I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah, well,
Allowed
see,
comment.
that's where the rules go all across the table at. Before, when they asked you to say something, you didn't want to say that.
Mr. Chair.
His time's up.
Mr. Chair,
Get it right. We were not
Yes.
allowed to say.
I would suggest for the commission to save it for,
They made a mockery of asking everybody a question that we were not at liberty to answer.
I would suggest to
Commissioner
save the
Gray.
comments for
To go out
commissioners'
and tell
comments.
Everybody, we refuse to answer the question.
It's not debate,
If
it's,
you're gonna give an answer, give
Okay.
it right.
We're going to allow the citizens to make their comments, and then we'll just respond during our comments if we want to address any specific area. City Clerk, are there any additional comment cards?
Yes, sir. Ms. Sanquetta Cowan.
Good evening, I just have a few questions. Sanquetta Cowan, 1548 Singletary Avenue. And I will have direct questions, Mayor, if I may direct my questions to. I just have a few questions for Mr. Thompson. Just a follow-up, where are we at in the process, and so I don't lose my 3 minutes, with the ordering of the bench? I know we talked about getting a bench for Commissioner Walker, so I just wanted to know where we were at in the process of ordering the bench. And my other question was, Mayor Babb, I know you talked about having you suggested a committee be formed so that the community could have input with the ARPA funds.
Yes.
And how they should be utilized. I wanted to know if you can let us know tonight when that committee can be formed so that we can have follow up on that, and so we can get moving, because I do know a lot of other cities are doing things involving their community. So
I have it here too. I
Okay,
actually
well, I'm
moved
just
a
following
motion.
up with some
Yes,
things that I
okay.
know that had come up. And also, my other question was, Commissioner Bowling, I guess I should have asked that while I was up here. What is the chamber's commitment or contribution gonna be to the Centennial? That's not a question you can answer right now, because I don't want to lose my time. And my other question was, Mr. Thompson, I know when you came, we talked about, or you talked about how you were gonna get with property owners to try to bring properties up to code, so that they may be utilized as a business in the city to increase economic development. So if you can kind of update us on maybe some meetings that you've had with the owners of different businesses, so that, you know, that's gonna help us increase economic development with property owners that they have. And I know that's been a talk for a while, that, you know, each city manager said that they were going to do that. So I just wanted to know what meetings you've had with property owners to see how their properties can be used to increase economic development in our city.
I would say our discussion was about empty, vacant properties, being able to bring development into those properties that the city owns.
Okay, because, all right, I thought it was, I'm just gonna use for example, like we have a flower shop. I know it's not being used, I know it belongs to someone else, but there may be someone that has a talent that maybe the owner, if you speak with them, I'm just using this for example, and you say, hey, we may have someone that's talented here that we don't have a flower shop. We have to order flowers, and to get flowers if someone died, we gotta go online to order flowers. So I'm just using that as an example.
I won't take up your time to do it in my report.
Okay, so that was the question that I have. And also, my last question, Mr. Thompson, was, I noticed that you did not attend the Dr. King event, but you did attend an event that was here in the city. So that I would like to say, you are a representative for all citizens, and please don't pick and choose what events that you go to. Be fair, go to all events that's in the city, because you're supposed to be representing all the citizens.
I had COVID-19.
So.
I had full intentions.
But I'm just saying, we would not have known that, but I'm just saying that
I
the
didn't
look.
think I had to publicize it.
The look. So those were the questions that I had. If you all can, now you can respond, Mr. Maribel, to.
Okay, I do mine in a comment that I make a little late. I don't know if the others want to respond at this point.
Okay.
Okay. In addition to comments, cards, City Clerk?
So is anyone else gonna respond, or do they have a report, like Commissioner, can respond to my question as far as
In my comments.
when you do your comments? Okay, all right.
Did you say no in
No,
addition
sir.
to okay, thank you. Now we'll move to the approval of the minutes. We have several minutes, at least 7 of them. I don't know if we want to do them collectively or individually. And if there's any particular minutes that need to be pulled for further discussion, we can do that also.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of August 24, 2021, September 15, 2021, September 28, 2021, October 12, 2021, and October 26, 2021, November 10, 2021, and December 14, 2021.
I second it.
It has been moved by Commissioner Bowling and properly seconded by Commissioner Perez for the adoption of the minutes as presented. Call for questions.
Remember, I have one. Can you, why do we have all the minutes now? I think she tried to see a Spencer, but I don't remember. Why we have 7 commission meeting minutes now to prove tonight? From August 24th to 2021?
City Clerk, you have an answer for that you can share?
Oh, I can. With everything that was transpiring last year, minutes were being done between process. So all of them are on this agenda right now because public records requests, process for records from attorneys and different things that's been transpiring, the minutes were not done at that time, so now they're done all at one time.
I just wanted to put that on, ask that, because I know from this commission, we had this many on there. There was a lot of talk on why we have so many minutes been approved at one time. They said it was very unacceptable. So I just wanted to, I just wanted to put it on record.
And I do have one comment concerning the minutes. I would hope and ask in the future that at a minimum that we include the outcome of the votes on motions. I think it's very important
does.
when
It did.
the majority of them don't have that. You got some key votes that was taken. Now, you can go back to the
Motion
minutes
carried
of the
3-2. Motion carried
live
unanimously.
streaming.
Motion carried unanimously.
That don't tell who voted and how they voted.
Ah.
That's what I'm,
That
that's what I'm alluding
information
to.
I can add to future minutes,
Right.
but that information is included on all resolutions.
I understand that. I'm just asking for the public have some knowledge quickly of how a commissioner voted on certain items. And that's, again, for future reference. Any additional questions? Hearing none, I entertain, with already motion and second, call for roll. Madam
Vice Mayor-
Clerk.
Vice Mayor Bowling,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Now we'll move. We don't have any consent agenda items. In our regular agenda, we do have no ordinance or public hearings. We do have one resolution.
You skipped over Mr. Freeman. Weren't we going to move him up too?
He wasn't here.
Oh, he wasn't here.
He's here now?
Okay. I thought I saw him come back in.
He wasn't here.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. We do have one resolution, Resolution 2022-04. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2022-04. This is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute the interlocal agreement between the City of Pahokee and the School Board of Palm Beach County for the purpose of mutual use of recreational facilities.
Thank you, City Clerk, City Attorney. City Manager, at this time, could you give us a brief explanation of Resolution 2022-04?
Yes, this is an interlocal agreement with the school board. It allows us to use their grounds, and it requires us to purchase insurance to do so. And it extends it until the end of the agreement of 2024.
City Commission, having had our city attorney properly read this resolution into the record and having our city manager properly explain it, what's your pleasure?
I make a motion that we would accept Resolution 2022-04.
Is there a second? Second. It has been moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly second by Commissioner Gonzalez for the adoption of Resolution 2022-04. Call for questions.
I have one.
Vice Mayor Boland.
Yes, sir. On page 9, paragraph 13, it says annual appropriation. Each party's performance and obligations under this agreement shall be contingent upon an annual budgetary appropriation by its respective governing body for subsequent fiscal years. Can somebody give me a little explanation on that one?
It's actually, in the packet, it's page 46.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Down at the bottom, it says number 46. On the little thing there, it said 9. I apologize.
That answer your question? No.
No, she
Okay.
just said what page it was on. She didn't answer the question.
Can you read, which part are you referencing?
Yes, ma'am. Number 13, annual appropriation. I just want to make sure if that's something we are supposed to have in our budget, we put it in our budget.
That would be on the county's behalf.
That's just the county, that's not
My
both,
understanding.
both parties?
Well, our budget wouldn't be involved,
Right, but
other
in
than
this,
paying for our insurance.
in this body of this, it says that they have the ability to use our facilities and we have the ability to use their facilities, correct?
Yes.
And then
Yeah,
it
that's
said,
it.
so it says each parties, and it has an S, so I assume that's both of us. Performance and obligations under this agreement shall be contingent upon annual budgetary appropriation. So my question is, do we have that? Or should we have that? Do we need that?
We don't have anything budgeted for this, so no.
Okay,
Vice Mayor, if I may, City Manager, if I may. This interlocal agreement, as it is written, does not have a budgetary impact on the city. However, if you take certain actions, it will. So say, for example, if there's going to be a specific event and you are required to get insurance, there would be a cost for that. There's a section in here with respect to both parties, both the city and the school board being permitted to make repairs.
Right.
So say, for example, there were repairs that needed to be made, there would be a cost for that. If you'd like, I'm happy to get clarification from the school board, but the way it's written, it appears that if you choose to act and there is a budgetary impact, that those funds would need to be available. But I'm happy to get clarification if they have an expectation of a certain amount, because it does not have one as a city impact at this point.
So at this time, every year, every 5 years, we do the interlocal agreement, which it is budgeted already in Parks and Rec. They also have the insurance, which she is quoting, which has already been pulled. So we're covered on everything that we need for the interlocal agreement with Palm Beach County.
okay, so we do this like every 5 years?
Every
That's-
5 years.
Okay, that's why.
To my
I've seen it
understanding, this is
before.
an extension,
Okay.
a new agreement, but
Okay.
nothing changes.
Thank you. That answered that.
In additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes?
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Okay, we have taken care of the presentation on the agenda. Now we'll move to the city manager report.
Mr. Willis came last month and asked for a sponsorship for his fishing boat. I think all 3 cities in the Glades are going to do it, and we've committed to it, and we're taking care of him this week. He's the same gentleman that's coming in and stepping up for the Centennial. As far as the memorial bench, I've gotten some quotes for marble benches for the prices we agreed, and they're significantly small. So I think more appropriate would be a large metal bench that people could actually use and not just to look at with the memorial plaque on the back of it. Right now, I'm looking at about $1,200, which is $200 over the motion, but we'll address it as it comes. MLK, I didn't think I'd have to explain myself, but I will. I had COVID that whole week, and I didn't want to come out and jeopardize anybody and spread it. I worked from home that week. I actually designed the flyers and the logo for that celebration day. I also arranged for the sheriff's office and the fire department to participate in the parade. I've met with WGI regarding MLK Park. The state has an issue with that building belonging to the church, or they call it a church. I tried to describe it that it's a preschool. But here nor there, we're going to do a survey and cut it out of the park, be able to get state funding because of separation of church and state. We're working on that. Attended Palm Beach County League of Cities meeting February 29th. Continue to meet with all the contractors involved with our highway project. They're working through some change orders, but it's moving along. I took a look at the request from the commission to fund the Centennial from the ARPA funds. I could not find any direct ways of funding it at this time. I spoke with FDOT. They have a resurfacing project that's coming around the curve South Lake by the track store, and it's coming all the way to Main Street. I've spoke with Florida Power and Lights contractors, engineers. There are going to be some retrofitting of some fixtures on those light poles, a few poles changed. Also, they have a project where they're going to light the crossing where Larimore and State Market Road intersects there, so that'll be lit up for anybody that has to cross that at night. I've conducted several interviews for the open positions we have. As you mentioned, we have several openings. I have hired a young lady for the economic development, and we have filled a maintenance worker for the cemetery, and we continue to interview and search for qualified people to fill those other open positions. Ms. Cowan asked about the conversation we had and what I've been thinking about, different ways to bring in revenue to the city, benefit the city. One of them, we have several empty lots, and if we put a lot up for sale, it has to go to the highest bidder. And a lot of times that high bid isn't very high. So I've been kind of thinking out of the box, maybe doing a public-private partnership with some developers so we can take those empty lots, build a new home, so local residents have a new home. The developer pays the city for our property, and we build our tax base. So we can start doing things, as the gentleman says, moving forward. That's what it takes. We can't will things to happen, Pahokee. We got to put things into action. And that's something I think the commission's committed to doing. And we set a goal, and we're looking to achieve it. The campground at the Marina, the county has put in a new ordinance that if you have a commercial property, you have to have a backflow preventer at every meter. The city's been juggling this around, see how we can get around it, how we're going to pay for it. So at the campsites, every meter will have to have above ground backflow preventer. Also has to be inspected once a year at $100 a piece. The price of that would be astronomical to the city. Only other option, number one, campers will be backing over them, breaking them. Number two, people will be stealing them because they're brass. And they have a higher value now because every business in the county needs one. So why buy a new one when you can buy a used one for half price? So the city's only other option is to have a master meter and a backflow on that. Now in 2019, the county gave the city a price of $300,000 for that master meter, which today will be around $380,000. I hired a consultant to work on this and help mitigate that price, hoping we can get it cut in half or more. Well, I got news today, we don't have to implement any of that. So that's a savings to the city of almost $400,000. Been waiting on this for a while. I didn't want to make an announcement before we got a final word. It may take a month or two or maybe 3 to get it to the commission to make it official, but we did get a response from them today that we will not have to do those changes at the campground. And I just want to thank our consultant. I think it was money well spent. So far, it's costed the city less than $5,000 for his services, and it's returned almost $400,000. Cemetery, still working on improvements of the cemetery. Painted the entrance, the gates to the memorial cemetery. Doing some changes out there. Still looking to get some new equipment for them. I went to the county last week and we bought a compactor. Some people call it a steamroller. We also bought a trailer and signal lighting. So in the future, we can do our own patchwork and we can get to work on some of these roads that you have to drive over every day. I'm sure everybody in this crowd tonight knows the need for that. So when we do get our ARPA funding and start putting these projects together, we can spend the citizens' money diligently and make it go as long as we can. Centennial Committee, appreciate everything they're doing. I know Pastor Wallace is working hard trying to keep everybody together and on focus. Time's ticking, and it'll be here before we know it. We got one swing at this, and we want to do it right. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, City Manager. City Attorney, have any?
I just wanted to thank you so much for having me here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. And this question would probably go to the, well, I think we'll address it at our next meeting. If by that chance we don't have, and we probably won't have an attorney, would you actually be able to fill in that particular night, at least until we do hire one?
Yes, Mayor, happy to.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll move to the, we don't have any old business on the agenda, no new business. 4th of July celebration, City Manager, do you want to address that?
4th of July, everything's going up, and this definitely has went up. We have to, it's really late to even do this. We're very fortunate to be able to get quotes from 3 vendors, and this year it's about 10,000 more than it was last year, and it's 25 to get a fireworks show here. So if the commission approves this, they're asking for half up front so they don't get stuck with the loss. And that's something the city's going to be working hard also, is to get sponsorships for that, so the city don't have to incur that total cost. So that's
Yeah,
something.
in the last few years, we have never had to pay the total cost, not even the
Right.
majority of it, so we're going to have
I
to
think
knock on those
last time we had
things.
fireworks, it was around 15, is that correct?
It was about 10, between 10 and 12. Last year, we had a laser show in lieu
That
of
was like
fireworks.
17 or something last year,
Huh.
wasn't it? I think around 17.
I was kind of
last year.
hesitant because the
Yeah.
cost of the Centennial, but I just didn't
That
want
was
to
late.
not make that decision and not have fireworks this year. Mr. Pickney got these quotes, and the others were significantly higher than this, and this is one of the better companies. So as soon as the Centennial's over, staff is going to kick it in gear and get as much funding as we can for this.
Okay.
So do you need a motion for that?
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we approve the fireworks cost for 4th of July celebration.
Second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Boland and properly second by Commissioner Gonzalez that we authorize the payment for our 4th of July celebration of fireworks.
12.5. No, yeah.
Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a
What's the
vote?
cost we're approving?
Huh?
What's the
25,
cost
he
we're
said.
approving?
25.
25,000.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just gonna, you call me the bad person. Now, it's easy for us to,
I didn't call you the bad person.
it's easy for us to approve the 25,000 without any question asked. But we couldn't prove the 50,000 for the Centennial with an hour of questions asked. So,
But
call me the bad person.
but in fairness, the mayor said we don't pay, only pay half of it.
Call me the bad person. We had no question asked, which I don't have no problem with with 4th of July, because we should have that. I'm just saying, but we had no question asked from this commission, just motion 25,000, second call for question. We asked about the Centennial, which is the 100th century of the city of Pahokee, and we could not get it done. Okay, I just wanted to put that out
I
there.
have a comment.
I just want to put that out there.
Yes, I'd like, please.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Vice Mayor, have the floor.
Yes, sir. I'd like to say that I didn't have a problem with this because we always budget for this. This is budgeted. And this year, he's saying that we are going to get donations for the rest of it so that we will not have to pay the $25,000 out of pocket. That is not, am I correct, sir? Is that what you said, Mr. City Manager? That's what you said, you were going to do your best to get
Absolutely.
donations so that we don't have to pay the
But
additional
it's
money.
not budgeted.
It is, we always budget for 4th of July.
Move it on, but it's on record, move it on.
In additional questions,
Don't tell me to move it on. How do you know I'm done?
Move it on, ma'am.
in additional questions,
Excuse me, sir. She can't tell me to move it on. She doesn't know I'm done, and you can't move on until I am done.
you had finished your comment.
No, sir, I
You
did not
had.
finish
You
my
only-
comment.
You only interjected when she made an additional comment. You were through at that point,
Unbelievable.
okay?
Go ahead and talk.
Are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes,
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes, motion passed by unanimous vote. And we'll move to the ZAP Board. City Manager?
Yes, sir. Right now, we have almost all the positions are open on the ZAP board. It's very important that we appoint this board. We have some development coming up that's going to need those decisions looked at and plans. So we need to take action on this soon. Have a discussion tonight and take action in the next meeting or as you see fit.
How many positions we have vacant?
4?
At this time, there's 8 positions vacant.
Plus 4 plus
how many did you say? I didn't hear.
8.
8?
A total of 8 positions. The previous members' terms expired in 2019, 2020, 2018. So as of now, no one that was previously on the board is.
And they have an
Either you're
even
gonna have
number
to
on that board?
reappoint. My suggestion is that we advertise and get people to put in applications for the ZAP board immediately. So if you guys can approve it tonight, I can put the advertisement out tomorrow.
Okay. So let's put in a motion for the advertisement.
I make a motion that we advertise for citizens to apply for the ZAP board.
Second.
Can I ask a question? I want to know, how does that process go?
First, we have to have a second on the motion.
Okay, we have motion by Vice Mayor Boland and properly second by Commissioner Gonzalez. Call for question, Commissioner Perez.
Okay, how does that process go?
So I will put out legal advertisement, which will be placed in the papers and on our website and probably our social media. And once we get applicants, the application will be forwarded to the city commission and the city commission will appoint. So there's different terms for each member. You have 3 members that are full members that are appointed for 3 years. You have 2 alternates that are appointed for 3 years and the others are appointed for 2.
And what are the positions?
There's members, alternate members. Those are the only 2 positions. You're either an alternate or you're a member of the board.
So if one falls
3
away, you have an
members,
alternate, you don't have to
3
wait.
alternate.
There's 3 members, 3 alternates, and there's 2 more members, but the 2 members have 2-year terms.
So you
3
have a
members
committee of
have
5.
3 years.
3's a quorum. And then you have
Each-
alternates.
No,
Go ahead,
wait.
Clerk.
And
So-
all the commissioners vote on each one?
Yes, ma'am.
And can I ask a question? What are are there qualifications for the ZAP board?
Actually, it doesn't specify. When you look it up in our code of ordinance, it's not specified. It doesn't even specify that you have to be a resident.
Lord
So
have
can we
mercy.
change that?
Can we change that?
Yeah.
We need to change.
We gotta draft the
Yeah.
people
ordinance.
that are qualified to serve in different committees.
Yeah.
We'll have to draft up an
Especially
ordinance,
that.
and the ordinance will have to come back before the commission.
Yeah. I make a motion that we draft an ordinance to have some qualifications for that board.
So are we gonna advertise it?
Yes,
or-
we're still at, yes,
Yeah.
we're still
Because she's
advertising.
doing a second motion. We still got a motion that's on the table.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
In addition, a question on the advertisement of the ZAP board applicants.
I would just say it's important that we do advertise this and start that process. That we can change the code to set those qualifications so it don't delay this process at all, because we really need this committee in place.
I will, if I may, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Address this topic. You certainly can create an ordinance with qualifications, although you are the deciders for the members. So you can decide on the floor. You can, if you have 10 applicants, you can say, well, I like that this one did an architectural review board previously, or I like that this one owns a home and a business, or you can, at this moment, the way it stands now, you are the deciders of who is best qualified. So I'm happy to draft an ordinance for your review and discussion at the next meeting, but I just want to put that out there for your consideration.
And we could advertise, them to list why they would need to be on it. Maybe not a list of qualifications, but why they feel they're, should be on the board.
I have a question for the attorney. So you're thinking in your experience, it's best to leave it the way it is, so
Please, we
that way
can't
we
hear.
have individuals who want to be a part of the ZAP board and have qualifications like you just stated. It's best to leave it broad.
It gives you the most discretion. So if you wanted to create a standard that future commissions would be bound to, so say, for example, you want to require that they're residents and they must live here for 2 years, or you can require,
Right, because you
within
just,
reason, most things, right? Legally, most things. And you can bind future commissions unless they create other ordinances. But the way it stands now, you do have the most discretion.
Yeah.
It cuts both ways,
yeah, because we
right?
just limit it if we do it this way. If they have to be residents, just limited to people because there's no architects around Pahokee that I know of. Because you brought a good point.
We don't want people from other places to come
And decide what
what's gonna
happens
happen in
here.
your city.
Right, you got your
Yeah.
pros and you got your cons, so that's what I'm saying, like, if there's somebody out there.
Qualified people
There's
within-
qualified
within
people
the
here.
city
Yeah.
That could serve on that board.
I agree.
Okay. Let's take up the advertisement, and we'll quickly move to the qualification if that's the desire of the majority. In addition, questions on the advertisement?
Mayor, on the application, when you read the application itself gives you a description when they filling it out, their experience on it. So most people list, what they did already. I agree with what the attorney said. When you look at it, you say, okay, Mr. John Jones, he worked in construction before. It's actually, if you look at the application, they actually list that.
Yeah. Okay. Are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passed by unanimous vote. 9, reference to the qualification. If you listed certain qualification, normally it would be just for one particular applicant out of that group. Say, for instance, if it was an engineer, you certainly wouldn't ask all to be engineers or have construction experience. You would list, say, you would want at least one person appointed that has some construction background or whatever. But if you want to, we can take up that real quickly. If you have a few suggestions that you want to share with the city attorney while she's considering drafting this ordinance, it can be done at that time. So do you feel?
mentioned some of them that I like.
Right. And you don't want to broaden it so much that you start eliminating the majority of our residents, but certainly having someone who live in the community could be a qualification, and some others that you may consider.
And at least if you have one engineer or one person on the ZAP board with construction experience or management in construction, something like that, they're at least going to have an idea of what needs to be done and what can be done.
That's true.
May I ask a question of the commission? Would it be acceptable to say these are preferred qualifications
Yes.
and not
Yeah,
required?
Absolutely. That would be a good
Then you
idea.
still have the
Yeah.
ultimate discretion.
That way we have some discretion. I like that.
Thank you.
Okay. So basically, just by consensus, we want to just instruct our city attorney to draft up an ordinance on that, and we can all vote on it at
But
our next meeting.
the question is, you guys, Commissioner, y'all feel more comfortable if it's just the city citizens of Pahokee?
Yeah,
Maybe you could
majority.
have one outside, like some of the committees, I think, allow one person who's not
Because it's just
in
limited
a
to one.
citizen, but the majority need to be people who live here and are making these decisions, in my opinion, about what happens in our city. Yeah.
A question, would a business owner or a property owner of commercial business qualify under the way you're thinking now?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to strictly live in the city, you may have a residence elsewhere, if you own a property
Yes.
or
Yes.
own a business.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so residents, own property, or own a business.
Right,
Right.
that sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll move to commissioners' comments. And I'm going to start, I guess I'll start first. Okay, the American Rescue Act Plan Act, I think I've suggested, at least on 2 occasions, I'm gonna make a motion that we create a citizen advisory committee to assist us with deciding how this money can be well spent, that it would have the greatest impact and benefit for our community. And I would suggest that it include, at a minimum, businesses, nonprofits, religious organizations, agriculture, homeowners, as well as our general residents.
Everyone.
Just, yes, we want to have a broad perspective of that. And I'm asking and I'm putting this on the floor as a motion that we create this committee. And could I get a second on that?
I second it.
Okay. It has been moved by the mayor and properly seconded by Commissioner Mervin that we create an American Rescue Plan Act Citizen Review Committee. And most, if not all, cities are doing this. It strongly have been suggested that the citizen have some impact, some input in the way this money should be administered. And again, the city have the final authority, but like all committees, they have some
It's just listening to their
suggestion.
opinions and.
Yeah,
This, for clarification, this would be for public input,
yes,
correct?
yes.
I imagine there will have to be, informed as to what are the basis or the contingency that we are to use the money for.
Right.
Yeah, that's,
There's
yes,
rules
right.
and regulations that
Right.
have to be.
It's about
Right.
that thing.
Because if we form a committee, an advisory
Then
committee,
they're
and
gonna
they
have
think
to read it.
you got $1.5 million and we can spend it on anything we want, when
Yeah.
there are
But
very
and that's
specific
part of the
rules
ci- yeah, that's
about what
part
we
of the
can do.
That's part of the city responsibility too. For instance, if that committee makes some recommendation, we would then in turn say, you know, that particular recommendation we can't move forward with because it don't meet the criteria of the
Right,
act.
but
So
rather
that's-
than waste their time, perhaps if we formed this committee and we had them come to a meeting, and then the city manager and we sit down with them and say, okay, these are the things that the money can be spent on.
Now, we'll-
So anything outside of there, don't bring it to the table and waste
Well,
everybody's
we'll
time,
also-
because we can only spend it on
We
this.
also give them a copy of the plan, the act itself, so they can read
But
and
that thing
review.
is
And
like 300 pages long.
I'm just saying, they still need it in their hands, whether they
Yeah, I
read it or
agree they
not.
need it, but
In addition to
will they
that,
read
the
it?
city managers, similar to what
I-
you suggest, can put that out on the table and give them kind of an overview of the plan. But again, there are recommendations that this be in effect.
Mr. Chair, I will say, there's 7 major categories that this can be spent on, and the 2 that we have is roads and stormwater. And we need roads and stormwater. Now, I was at that same meeting you were at, and one thing the presenter warned about was this exact thing. With public input comes public expectation. So when they ask for things outside of the law and you don't provide it, there's problems.
Yeah, again, that would be explained to the committee. We're not just gonna send them off on a mission without any background on the act and what can be utilized. But once they have the foundation of what can, they can kind of help set some priority of how and what amount that could be utilizing. And it's just recommendation, it's just some suggestion. That don't mean everything they ask for or recommend will be approved. It's just giving us some feedback from our community and our residents of what they desire to see done with it.
For
But I-
instance, if it's infrastructure, they could recommend what roads, what infrastructure they would like to see done first, you know,
Yes,
whatever we could afford to do with the amount.
right.
So they will be making the suggestions, what they want to see done first.
Correct.
Right, because $1.5 million sounds like a lot, but
It's
when
not.
you start doing roads and things like that, it doesn't go far.
And, you know,
Yeah.
when you make decisions on roads, that's got to come from an engineer. It can't come from me or the commission. You know, an
Well, they could
engineer,
suggest it, and then we could give it to the engineer,
Right,
and then he could
Right.
prioritize which ones.
and if the
Good,
commission
then win.
chooses to have this committee, it's very important to lay down the rules up front. That is, who's going to chair, who picks the chair, who picks the committee, how are decisions made, is it by majority, is it by consensus? All that's very important, so it's actually a functioning committee. It's not a bunch of hollering back and forth. So it's easy just to say, let's do a committee. But it's more important to put the gears in place where they can actually function.
Okay. And our attorney would be the one who's going to draft this committee regulations or rules or whatever. I mean,
It's just,
with our
it's just a
input.
process of how you conduct a meeting.
Yeah. Are you're talking about each one of us committing a person or
Yeah, that's how we
recommending a
normally- yeah.
person, one for
Yeah,
each
right.
commissioner, so there'd be
Right.
5 people on
This,
the
and
committee?
this particular one, I'm looking at maybe we're doing 2, so we'll at least cover the areas that we feel that gonna give us a broader net of some information that we may be seeking. Yeah, if we just limit it to 5, we're not gonna cover, I think I mentioned religion, agriculture, home ownership.
Covered everyone.
Yeah, so at least 7 areas. So I would suggest that we do
2 each.
appoint 2 each, a
Okay.
total of 10.
And there needs to be a lot of education on these ARPA funds, because we've had several people call and come in wanting to know where their money's at. Where's my ARPA money? Where's my CARES money? This isn't CARES money, it's ARPA. So we have to educate the public that this isn't a handout for everybody to walk
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
This is to rebuild the city and get up to speed on our infrastructure.
Well, these
And
meetings are
wouldn't they-
advertised live, so they're basically, hopefully, we'll be hearing some of the comments we're making. We can share some information on our social media, our Facebook pages, as much as we can get out. And then we'll give the committee itself enough information so they are pretty familiar with what we're trying to do and hoping to get from this committee.
Yeah, I would say probably if you're going to appoint a committee like this, an advisory committee, a meeting prior to them getting together and deciding anything would be something to bring them up to speed as to what we already have in the works, what we have
now,
funded, or
that's-
what
that's-
we're asking for funding
Yeah,
on.
that's a little
Yeah.
tricky when you say, I'm not saying you have some, but that's part of the impression is that the city may have already created how they're gonna use the money, so I don't know.
No, I'm
if-
saying
okay.
on,
But that's your
We ha-
responsibility as commissioners to figure out how you're going to spend that money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she's saying what we already have in the work, we haven't
like we already
derived a
have
plan
McClure
at
Road,
this
we already
point,
have
though.
some money for that, so if they came back and said McClure Road, we would say, okay, we've already.
Yeah, we have to contribute
Yeah.
$250,000 towards that project.
Right, right. So
I
that's
have a
why I'm
question.
saying if we brought them up to speed on that kind of stuff.
The city attorney
Yeah.
wants to say something.
Mayor, if I may, certainly, if you'd like to move forward with this tonight, we can, but we could also wait until the next meeting. I will say one thing that you may want to consider, if you direct myself and the city manager to work together, we can consider if and how much of the funds can be used as a local match. So for certain federal projects, you're required to provide a local match. And under the ARPA program, some of the money is permitted to be used as your local match, which is a huge benefit because it's oftentimes very difficult to come up with the 10% required or whatever their requirements are. Now, not all of the money, but if that's potentially available to use for a road and there's a potential federal dollars that you can leverage, you could potentially multiply the amount of money you have available to you if you're able to bring in additional funding, particularly for roads.
And
So
expand on that, Pahokee's historically has had to pass up on funds because we don't have the matching amount. So this is a good opportunity to look into these new grants and stuff if we have that matching dollars.
We should be able to leverage $1.5 million quite a bit, I would think.
I have a,
Matter of fact, most of our grants is what's the contractor's out of pocket. It's reimbursement. So the contractor will work several months before they get a penny. And that's how we've had to do, just because our situation now, we're looking to change that.
but, maybe I think we have been blessed in the past too, that the state or federal have funded us the money up front that we didn't have to match. That's a blessing. It's even like with McClure Road, that's like with.
McClure, we have to put in $250,000.
Yeah.
With the Barfield Highway. But my thing is with the ARPA fund is we jumping on the infrastructure we always go to the state and federal for those dollars. Why can't we, like I agree with Commissioner Boland as far as 2 million or 1 million, that's not a whole, it sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot. But when you walking in the community, some of our seniors, some of our residents, they need some assistance in their home repair. So why can't we put so much of that money aside and help that's a lot of most of the cities are doing. They're having a program where they're helping their seniors. We have seniors, they need roof repairs. We have some need ramps built. We have a lot of senior citizens that really need some assistance in their home ownership, their home small repairs. So I know we get about $3 million that we're gonna get total, but if we can set so much of that aside and get a program where we can help our residents in the city of some small repair needs to their home. Because walking in the community, one lady told us yesterday when it rains, and right now we know it's almost hurricane season, it pours in her house. She needs a roof. She's a senior citizen, she's there by herself. So that funding would be an assistance to help put a roof on.
But
So I would hope that we can, I know we can do that because a lot of cities is doing that
Those are
with their
decisions that-
ARPA monies.
All those decisions are up to the commission.
I think that one thing that we want to be sure before we commit any of this money to anything is that there isn't already a program in place
Right.
that'll take care of that we just haven't utilized. That there are programs for, if you give me the lady's name and number, I'll be happy to hook her up with.
I know there is
Some
programs, I've
for that,
spoken to
so-
the county, but within the city. In our city, we do not have that program. So while we have this bucket of money, we know the county has something in the county, but within our city, we could use in our city that we could set so much money aside
Well-
for our residents in our
Why would we
city.
use our money if we can
And
use somebody
yes, the county, and if I'm not mistaken, they opened up their portal again. I think the 28th is the last day that you can apply for that. But still, that's county, that's fine. But what are we gonna do as far as our city,
Yeah.
us, to help our residents in our city?
But
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why would we want to use this money if there is money already?
Yeah, I
That
give
to
you,
A lot
me
of cities are
doesn't,
doing it.
use
Yeah.
other people's money if you can.
yeah, you
Palm
can.
Beach County has announced in the unincorporated areas how they're going to spend their money, but Palm Beach County is the wealthiest county east of the Mississippi River, and Pahokee is not.
But that's, you just said the keyword, unincorporated areas.
Right.
So that means we talking within our city limits. It's not coming to this, you have to be in an unincorporated area.
That's my
So
point.
that's why we need to be over the county, tell them that's what we need.
Again, if we can, once we form a committee, that we can help our residents in our city.
Okay.
Well,
All
hopefully
right,
that's
so
not
we-
what that committee's for. The committee is to put in how we should spend that money on infrastructure and other things.
suggestions.
It
I'm
shouldn't
just saying
just be
it's
for giving it away.
Right.
Fine, Mr. Charles, I'm saying we formed the committee, but I'm in hopes, I'm not even talking about just a committee now. I'm talking to you as a city manager and from a commissioner, that we can find a way that we can help our citizens in our community with the $3 million to help our citizens that's in really dire need in the community.
Yes, ma'am, that's totally up.
That's what I'm asking.
That's totally up to the commission, and we're going to have to ramp it up quick and put some plans in place on how we're going to spend this money.
Yes, we do, because
So-
time is winding up.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Let's go ahead and take care of the vote on that. Are you ready for a vote? This is to create the ARPA committee, Citizen Review Committee,
No, not review, advisory.
advisory, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. That's basically the same,
No,
but
not
advisory. Okay.
City Attorney, you said to vote on this one now, for the second meeting is what, for which one?
That was just a suggestion. We certainly can move forward with
Yeah.
creating the committee. I was just saying, if you wanted us to research how much of this could be used as a
Yeah,
local match,
can you just research
we
it?
could do that, and then at the next meeting, you could
Okay.
direct us at that point.
Yeah, because I personally feel they both make good points. And me personally, I think we should give them time to do the research so we can make the right choice instead of just jumping on it.
Even if you pass the motion to have a committee, advisory committee, it could be after the fact that they would do a review. But it's on the table, it's gonna happen, so let's at least vote on it to have it happen.
The commission still has to vote on who and everything that
Okay.
follows.
Yeah, so even if it's not ready by the next meeting, we know that that's the desire of this commission, if they approve it, that we would like to have an advisory committee that would help us address some of these areas that we would like to fund and
Okay.
assist.
To clarify, we should also, so regardless of what happens with this vote, we will also research that and come
Absolutely.
back with a report at
Yes.
the next meeting.
No
Very good.
problem.
Thank you.
Okay.
So are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bowling,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez.
Thank you. Motion passed by unanimous vote. My next comment is concerning a ordinance that we currently have that requires proper parking space and paved parking for commercials and residential building like apartments. There's an apartment that I believe have 16 units that has been in Pahokee probably before I was born. The person who currently owned that property have done some substantial amount of work to that. My request is property like that where there isn't enough proper parking, that current property that's already in existence would be grandfathered in. I'm asking for an exemption to that particular ordinance for current property that cannot meet that requirement. We're in an emergency situation where we're in dire need of housing for folks. Those 16 residents had to move out of that building. They're looking to remove back in soon if they are able to. And I think this only stipulation that's preventing them from opening up now is that particular ordinance. It does work. I've seen it work where the landowner had to pave and provide parking, and it makes the building even attractive. I think part of that ordinance even include painting of the property. But in situation where you have on-road parking, and it's been there for many years, and there's not enough land for them to purchase to even have additional parking, what we're basically doing is eliminating that residential area completely, because no one will be able to meet that particular ordinance goal. Now, new construction, that's a different thing. You got to have the proper parking. You just have to build an area where you have it, depending on the units. But I'm talking about these particular housing and rental property now that don't meet that. We're closing the door on all of those landowners, all of those landlords, if we don't do something as to grandfather those areas in.
What property are you referring to?
It's the old Parker building. I think you even referred to it in a live, huh? It's
Right down from Parker.
Right on the Rodden Avenue. It's 16, they got a little gate around it because they're doing construction. It's a 16-unit apartment right next to the property that was just recently condemned.
That is the Parker building that was condemned.
That's the 3-story, but I'm saying
Yeah.
the next one across from
That's
it.
that beige and white building right on the street.
So
Couldn't we
it was shut down because of parking?
It's gonna have difficult opening now because of
They need
of
1.5 for
parking.
each unit.
The
1.5
city
spots.
owns a parking lot they're using right now. They could purchase that for their parking lot.
Yeah.
Have we,
And we could open up
advised them of
on-street
that?
parking.
They've had no discussions with me.
And couldn't we
I
open
know
up
there's been a rant
on-street
on
parking?
social media today about that, but
Where's the parking? Where are you talking about?
Okay, we're still gonna run in,
The,
we're gonna run in some
I
situation
I
that
think,
may not be
correct me if I'm
possible.
wrong, I think that building was shut down because of deplorable conditions. They didn't
Yeah.
have doors on the hinges, they didn't have toilets in their bathroom.
Right.
And the other adjacent buildings are in similar condition.
Yeah, let's look at, let's talk about the one I'm referring to. That building has now been, I won't say
Right.
completely renovated, but
But
it's
if-
probably 95% renovated.
That's a different building, and they purchased 3 lots across it for their parking.
Yeah.
And I've
They've
had
already
that
purchased
discussions with
parking.
him. Previous city manager changed that zoning.
Yeah.
They could not do anything with that property, so they bought 3 lots catty corner to it, and that's their
park.
parking.
Yeah.
And we've been working with him through his permit process, and they should be occupying that building pretty soon. It looks nice. He has to do some backflow preventers and his air conditions, and I think he'll be ready to go. I think it'll be a great improvement to that road and
Okay, if they got adequate parking, they're gonna arrange for adequate parking, that's fine for that particular, building. But say now, let me go back to the Parker building. Even if they sold that building and they renovated it, they won't even meet the parking requirement. So what I'm saying, current building that cannot find adequate parking space to purchase, I feel that those areas, it can be a one basis situation, but we need to look at the possibility of grandfathering those areas in, because we're gonna eliminate quite a bit of residential space if we don't do that.
I hear you, but there's more parts to that puzzle.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have that, they park on other people's property. And businesses'
come home
properties,
and
and they
their-
don't park
their
there. That's
parking
the
spot is
basic
full.
fundamental of running a city, is those codes, so you can operate your city in the right way. And that's something we don't want to go back. We want to continue to move forward, and that's going back, in my view.
Okay, it may be going slightly back, but again,
and we also-
existing building.
And that particular building, we definitely, I'll use the word, we definitely don't want to reward a slumlord to continue running a
Exactly.
slum in our city. Because that is a slum, in my view.
No,
Is a
Yeah.
tenant housing.
Yes, it is.
I ride by it every day.
Yeah.
no one is gonna,
We don't want to reward a
Release-
millionaire that does not live in our community to continue to take advantage of our citizens and
yeah,
run a
I
slum.
agree, and I'm not promoting that. I'm even talking about even if
But
they
then make
tried to
'em
sell it,
Make her
and someone
purchase.
come in to renovate, they may have difficulty
They will.
having
They will.
the property parking spots. That's all I'm
Please be
saying.
quiet.
I
In
understand.
certain
Please.
in certain situations, there should be some type of grandfathering in on current buildings. Now, if they can find the parking and there's some available land that they can purchase, that's fine. I'm not talking about something 2 and 3 miles from the actual apartment where, rather than have to walk, something nearby that's purchasable. You got some land that some folks won't sell to you, and they're gonna be locked and handicapped as far as, how do I renovate this building? It's been condemned, but I wanna get it back up to code. But the parking gonna be the most challenging phase of that whole process. And I'm just trying to look for
Agreed. But there's a process now
Mm-hmm.
they can apply for a variance to the
But
code.
even at that, they should, in my opinion, that building in particular should have parking. And it's causing a problem up there because exactly what you said. They're parking out on the street. They're parking on other people's properties.
We're
They're
allowing them to
parking
park on our
everywhere,
property
and we
now.
allowing
But,
it to go
yeah,
on.
what-
And we can't
yeah,
have
what
new
we're missing-
construction coming into town, and we're saying, okay, now you have to do this, but we let them do whatever they want.
What we're missing is
That's
an
not right.
existing building, though. That's all I'm trying to address.
Yeah.
Those existing
But it's been a
buildings
slum,
who
man.
cannot
She
meet
can,
parking.
whoever owns that building can afford to put in and buy parking space for their building, whoever it is. They can afford to buy parking space. And if they can't, then they need to sell the building to
If
somebody
the
who
commission
can.
chooses, we can sell them that piece of property they're using for free right now for the
Yeah.
right price.
Exactly.
Solves the problem.
The thing is, whenever you grandfather something in.
You're
it's
just
under
opening up the door.
It's under the original owner. You don't sell the property and then grandfather the building, the rules with the building.
When you
That's
grandfather-
not how grandfather works.
Right.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, I'll give an example. Washington Park.
Please, we can't hear
Hold on,
if
this
you're talking.
isn't a discussion with the audience. No offense, but it's amongst the dais. I'll give an example of Washington Park. You give accommodations to that landowner, while they do, they flip it and profit off the backs of the citizens of Pahokee.
That's right.
We would not want to do that with this property, where we grandfather them in so
go
they
to
can
code.
sell that, and somebody else profit off of it, and somebody else come in and be stuck with it.
Well, actually, believe it or not, that building you're talking about did, because the original owner that started fixing it up, after we released some of the liens, flipped it and sold it. That building was sold like 2 times.
You talking about the one they're working on?
Yes.
Yeah, he financed it to the new owner. He's
Yes,
still,
so
ma'am,
that-
he's
that
still the
did
owner.
happen already.
Ma'am, he's still the owner. He's owner financing.
But they
And
said
that
they
gentleman,
flipped it, it made money, yeah.
but we didn't make any accommodations. He bought those lots for
They
his
bought the
parking.
lots for parking.
He
They
has
they
his
followed the
parking.
code.
And he's doing a good job at fixing that up.
What's the point of having code if
And it's
nobody's
going to be a
gonna
nice
follow
addition
it?
to our city and have some affordable housing for the citizens here. The other buildings is not that case. It's deplorable. I can't believe somebody would charge somebody to live in those conditions. It's horrible, and I don't want to reward that behavior. We're looking to
I
build
agree.
Pahokee
My
up.
question is, why have they been allowed to get to this point? Why?
Do we have
Because
liens
it-
on that building?
Why, it's in the city, why have they been allowed?
Allow what?
For the building to be dilapidated, I mean, you talk about there isn't housing. I wouldn't want any relative of mine to pay rent to live in a slum like that. Cause
That-
I have been inside those apartments.
I've been inside it too, and it's disgusting.
And people do not deserve to be living in those conditions.
Not for that
No,
kind of money,
no
that's
one
for
is
sure.
defending the condition of the building. That's not the point. I'm saying when the building is renovated, that if parking is the only thing that prevent the building from now being used by residents, that's something that the city can help maybe address.
Okay,
to be
my
able to
point to that
accommodate.
is, this person who owned this building, or this company who owned this building, has made more than enough money on the backs of our citizens and just done absolutely no repairs. I mean, it's deplorable what that building
talking
looks
about the
like
other
inside. And then now says, oh, I can't afford to buy parking space? No.
No, ma'am. They have parking space. They did their job. They were responsible.
Yeah.
And they bought 3 lots so they can park. And they're fixing that. We're talking about the one just down the block around Third Street.
Please don't cross-talk in the audience, I can't
Yeah.
hear.
That's a little ways
But
off
Mayor, you
anyway.
was
So we're
talking
gonna,
about the new
yeah,
building, though,
right.
right?
Yeah,
The
but
prior
he's
building is
saying
another
now
different
that
story.
They don't
they
need parking.
already in the process
Okay,
of
so they
purchasing.
got parking, so
Yeah,
that's fine,
and that was
everything is good,
that was my
so-
first concern, that
Yeah.
particular building.
Parking
because,
building a whole nother
yeah, the 16
story.
unit that I was trying to address. Okay, we're gonna move forward. I would like for us to move to direct and authorize the city manager to move forward on looking at the annexation of adjacent property, unincorporated property within proximity of our city. What I'm referring to is, to be clear, areas such as Dove Land, Pageant Island, Friend Village, that they be incorporated into the city.
And sugarcane.
In Sugarcaneville. Whatever I missed, which
For that. Been
they,
wanting that forever.
33476 zip code,
From the
they should
beginning, we
have a
wanted
right to be in here. And it should be voluntarily. Some may not even want to come in, but I would like for us to at least start that process of seeing how we can incorporate it in.
I
I know
believe we
some,
have to do a needs assessment to incorporate anything. So we'd
whatever the
have to have
process,
a
whatever
needs
the
assessment.
process take, we need to at least start it if there are no objection to having that done. So I would move that we authorize city manager to at least start that process. If I could get a second, that we can do
I'll
that.
second.
Okay, been moved by the mayor and properly second by Commissioner Mervin that we authorize the city manager to begin the process of annexing the property adjacent to our city limits.
To annex it or to do a
Annex.
cost assessment for
Yeah,
Well, maybe
needs assessment
before you
first,
do
yeah.
the needs assessment, but that would be part of the process.
Yeah, I just want a clarification. You want to get all the facts in front of you first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're asking me to do, correct? To get all the
Yes,
numbers
sir.
and see?
What the process is, what we'd have to do, what we are required to do.
I'd like to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been wanting
That's what we've been
to do
wanting
We've
to do
all
since
wanted
day
to do
one.
that.
I was
Yeah.
getting all kinds of.
Call
So the
for,
motion is just to start that process so
Yeah.
you can make that
Right.
decision.
call for
To
questions.
get the information. That's, if I understand correctly, we're asking him to get the information that we all want to know whether or not this is feasible to do. Is that correct? Is that your motion?
That's part of the process. My motion is really to have it annexed in, but if he come back with a report saying this particular one can't be for this reason, we still look at that, but.
No, if you
that's-
make a motion to annex it in, then we're moving
We'll
forward no
start
matter
the
what.
process of annexing in. If the
Okay, so
process begin
to
with
get the
doing a
information
feasible
only.
study, we'll do that. But whatever the process take to look at annexing those property in, that's what I'm asking for.
And my question to you is the motion that we're moving forward with annexing them in, or this motion is to
The
get the
motion
information to
is to
find out?
move, it's a combination, it's a move with the process of annexing them in. If the first part of that process is to look at the feasibility study of annexing, that will be the beginning of that process. But the ultimate goal is, unless there's some major reason why they can't or don't want to, then that's the process to get them in if there are no obstacles to doing it.
So your motion is to do it all the way through.
Yes.
Big vote, get them votes.
I think it'd be prudent to find out the financial impact first.
I'd say the,
Part of the process, the
part of the
beginning of the process will be that.
but if we vote the way you're saying
If-
tonight, we're
if-
voting to
No,
go ahead and move
no,
forward.
no.
He voting on the process.
If you
Yeah,
get
we
to
are.
that first part and it hinges on
You've
something
already
that we
voted to
can.
motion to move
All
forward
right, well,
with
let's,
it.
I don't know. I
let's
asked
vote
It
on
should
that
be a
motion.
I asked for them to
It should
annex
be
that from the
portioned.
beginning.
The motion
I
is,
don't know why till now.
the motion is to start the process of annexation.
Annexation, that's everything.
Then include whatever necessary to move it forward.
Second.
Okay, then, are you calling for questions?
Question, yes.
Okay. My question is, are we moving forward then, no matter what? Because that's what that motion entails, if I'm,
No, you putting,
unless
no,
I'm
no, I'm
mistaken.
saying you putting it no matter what. If there's some
Yeah, because you just
barriers
motioned to
that
move forward
prevent
with
it,
everything
then
that it
it
takes to do
won't,
it.
that part won't happen. But the process, I'm asking
But the
for
motion, the
process-
way you're making it tonight, says we are going to move forward. Did I not understand it?
Move forward with the process. I'll let the
Ask the
city
attorney,
attorney
yeah.
maybe get some clarification. Maybe I can rephrase.
Okay, because I want to be
it some
sure
kind of
what
way.
I'm voting on.
Thank you, Mayor. Any of you can make a motion to modify the wording of the current motion that's on the floor. So you could say, I move to modify the motion to separate the annexation process into two parts. Phase one, research, then the city manager will come back and present us with the findings after the study. And part two, we will then have a separate vote on Part 2 after we have that research to move
Okay,
forward.
I make a motion to modify that motion to move it into two parts, one for research and then one on the actual annexation.
Okay.
I second it. I like that.
Motion has been amended. Any additional questions?
I have a question. Why the hold up? That's the first thing I did. I brought up when I first, I mean, everybody knows, I brought it up the very first time. Why now? We've been trying to do this from the beginning.
Because
I mean, y'all know it, right?
if it's not feasible to do it, then we don't want
All I'm
to
asking-
jeopardize our
Thank
city.
you all for being supportive now. Let's
Yeah.
get this done.
I've been asking for this for 10 years.
I think we all want it done, we just want to make sure of what we're actually getting our city into.
Motion is second on the floor.
Any additional questions?
Yes, I have an
Yes.
additional, I think that the idea is that we want to know exactly what are we getting our city and our citizens into financially and every other way before we commit to say, yes, we will do this. Because once you tell the public you're going to do it,
Right.
and then you don't do it, then you look horrible.
Right.
We
Yeah,
all
we're-
look
we're going
horrible
based on
up
the
here.
two-part, right?
Okay?
That's why she said two parts.
That's why she
Yeah.
said two parts.
Right.
That we do the first part, and then we decide if we move on to the second part,
Okay.
okay?
But let's just get it.
Yeah,
let's just
not
get the
that we
wheel
just
rolling. Let's
move
get the
on
wheel
straight
rolling.
on through,
You-
but
you-
that
Let's get
we
the wheel
actually
rolling.
do it the
Okay.
two-part way.
Any additional
Yeah.
questions? Are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam
So
Clerk.
was it amended or not?
Yes.
You had an amendment,
Yeah.
you had a motion and a second to amendment. It was amended
Okay.
for two parts. All right.
Okay.
Call for question. Call for vote.
That is clear.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes,
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passed by unanimous vote. And my last comment or question is, it's directed to the city manager, but it's also directed to this commission. I've requested on several occasions that we have written reports from our city manager. I have never been on a commission that didn't receive written reports. I know he provide verbal reports, but just a reference, for our reference, I know it's recorded, but it's still nothing like a written report. In addition to a written city manager report, I've requested and haven't gotten the support yet of this commission, and maybe you all are receiving them, the monthly financial reports. Prior to this, we didn't even want to spend a dime unless we had a report or got authorization that this should be spent. So those are two reports, and I'm actually putting it in a motion that from this day forward, that at a minimum, we have written monthly reports from our city manager giving us a status on whatever need to be brought to our attention, and a monthly written financial report that will be submitted to this commission for review. And that's my motion.
I didn't get a monthly report.
So you don't want one?
I haven't got a monthly financial report since I've been a commissioner. We got a quarterly report, and it was like a printout. It wasn't a real report. But yes, that would be nice.
Okay.
I'll second your motion, Mayor.
Okay, it's been moved by the mayor and properly seconded by Commissioner Mervin that the city manager furnish us with monthly written reports, and that we receive, in addition to that, monthly financial reports.
What would you be asking with what would you be looking for in a financial report? A
What would
reconciled?
anybody, what you look for, and I'm not being
No,
funny.
what are you
I'm
asking
not
for?
being funny, but include us in what you look for in the financial report.
We don't get a financial report every month.
No?
We have a business meeting quarterly. That's what traditionally cities do. It's not something you would do monthly. That's why you have
I
a,
guarantee you, the majority of those cities receive.
I'm not gonna argue. It's just, you should have,
Okay,
you
but
should have
that's
a.
my request.
you
I
should-
think it's
you should have
important.
You should have a business meeting quarterly, and we have not, because we have a lady on contract, and we don't have a financial director right now.
I've spent 15 years on the Legal Aid Board, 15 years on the Comprehensive Aid Board, and this commission I've spent X number of years.
You've been 27 years. How many months in a row have you had a financial report? 27 years.
If someone brought the
Monthly.
ball, regardless of when they did it, we're asking for it moving forward. Our goal is to move the city forward. I don't know how this commission can even operate without having at least monthly financial reports at hand. I don't know how they can do it. It's hard for me to do.
You have the last 27 years, correct?
You get $10,000.
I mean, if you're asking for it, that's one thing, but don't say you don't know how this committee has operated.
We've been at some point, we was.
Because you've
in
been
mon-
on this committee for
we've been-
27
we was
years.
in a monthly financial report.
Monthly?
Yes. Your city manager and Cluison don't give a monthly written report.
last time.
We got a monthly report quarterly.
Monthly financial report?
Uh-huh.
No, you should get a.
You got
You should
one,
get a
two, three,
verbal
you got three,
quarterly report.
no, we got 3 financial reports quarterly, 4 times a year.
And that satisfies you.
Please,
We should have a
we
work,
can't hear out there,
we should have a workshop
please.
quarterly. We should have a workshop quarterly to go over the budget and where we're
Well,
at.
Mayor Bab, I'm with you on that, because I did request, the bank statements from, I think I requested my thing from, and I did get them from one up to December. Now, about 3 weeks ago, it's been about 3 weeks now, I requested January statement. I have not gotten those yet. But just like your own personal statements, you get bank statements every month. So we can at least, we have 2 meetings every month, even at least at the second meeting of the month, we should at least have the bank statements of each bank account. That all you have to do is go in there and print them out. And we should, that we should be able to get for each account.
Of course, staff and I will do what the commission requests, but I also don't want to present an idea that we've been doing something wrong this whole time and every other city's been doing this, because that's not factual.
No, I don't think we were saying that anything was
Please be
doing.
quiet so we can hear.
I don't think,
I was
finished, Commissioner.
We've been here for the last 5 years. How many monthly reports did you all get?
Well, we was getting, because Commissioner Bolden, I'm actually,
Why
Commissioner,
weren't you so proactive?
let me answer your question.
I agree for it now, but why
Let me answer
now?
your question.
And
Commissioner
why
Bolden,
the past 3 years that you've been, or 6 years?
we did get a Commissioner Bolden
Oh,
put that
God
out there.
almighty Jesus.
They never took the man's name.
Is that
Commissioner-
quarterly?
You want to quiet them down so we can discuss this.
Commissioner Bolden did request that for each month before you got up here to get.
Can you
to
go
get-
sit down, please?
To get, oh yeah, thanks
Come
for
on.
pulling this up.
Come on, this ain't right.
All she's doing is
Yeah,
hindering.
hey, oh, thank you for pulling this up. Miss Batista pulled this
wasn't
up
all.
monthly, she gave, that they pulled up, this is it here.
It was a joke. She got $80,000 a year and didn't do any finances.
We-
Call
we-
it like it is.
we're gonna move forward.
And defend people that came to steal from the city.
You need to watch your mouth talking, because you never proved that no one stole. You shouldn't be saying
Can't
that.
hear.
'Cause you wouldn't like it
Cannot hear.
if they said that to you.
I didn't.
You wouldn't like it if they said that to you.
I'm gonna ask-
The money away. We'll say it.
Commissioner Perez, Commissioner,
Jesus. Anyway,
Yes.
Mayor Bab, I'll second your motion that we get monthly reports, to the commission of
okay,
each,
it's been moved in second. Call for question. Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy,
yes,
Commissioner Murphy,
yes.
Vice Mayor Bowling,
Yes?
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed by unanimous
We're
vote.
not trying to
And I'd
have
just
it.
like to address,
Why did you fight for it?
Look.
come on, Commissioner.
This is ridiculous.
I'd just like to address the city manager. I'm not saying someone did something wrong. I'm just saying from the
I
day
just wanted that
forward,
clarification.
could we have it? That's
What
all.
about that Ku Klux Klan coat?
What about
Commissioner,
If you would like, I would educate you after the meeting on what that is.
I don't need your education.
I assure you, you do.
we'll now move to Commissioner Gonzalez for his report, if he has any.
I just want to thank everybody for being tranquil compared to the other meetings. And thank you for the commission and our tonight's city attorney, thank you for coming, and that's basically it. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Boland.
I want to say thank you to everybody who's here tonight, and I would really, really appreciate it. You cannot imagine how hard with these things in between us it is to hear what the people are saying up here. And when y'all talk, it's 1,000 times harder. I have a hard time hearing, and I really appreciate your patience with that. So if I get upset, you'll know why. I would like to make a motion that we stream these meetings in Spanish. I know that we have talked about it in the past. We have looked at it. We have done everything. Our citizens are not able to understand or hear these meetings because it is not streamed in Spanish. And that, to me, is not right. So I would like to make a motion that tonight we start to stream the motions from here forward in Spanish.
And I second that, because I've been after this since I got elected. They told me that they were gonna check the cost was checked, and I still got the string along, so, you know, we need to move on it.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Boland and properly second by Commissioner Perez that we begin streaming our commission meeting in Spanish. English and Spanish. Yeah. Call for questions. My question would be, how would we do that? Are we talking about an interpreter or?
No. They told us that they can stream in any language we pick. They have 100 languages they can stream in.
Okay, so simultaneously, there'll be both.
Are you
Okay.
talking about text across the bottom?
However they do it, it doesn't matter. I mean, however it's done, just so it's done.
Could she chime in? Could she chime in this?
I don't think so. I think it's Darian that does
I
it.
think we should have
The
Darian
Creole.
come or call, and he'll give us an update of how, because the cost probably will go up. So maybe Darian can come in and tell, I think he was doing it once before, he showed how to do it. So
Right.
I can't remember what came out.
Since we're on the subject, is it possible throwing Creole in that? If it's
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
Possible for what?
Creole,
Creole.
because we do have.
They
people
said
speak
they had,
Creole here.
Darian told us one time here, he had 99 languages he could do it in.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want to amend the motion to add Trio, at least get a cost estimate of what it'll cost, that
Right.
should be fine. Could we get a second on adding Trio in addition to Spanish?
Exactly.
Okay.
And the cost.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes?
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes.
Okay. In addition to that, I would like to make a motion that we schedule a business meeting quarterly so that we can know where we are in our financials and whatever else we need to know, that we do just strictly business.
A
Second.
meeting or a workshop?
Should be a
Workshop.
workshop.
What would that be if we go back to our workshops before the meeting? You could do that
I don't want a
then.
workshop before the meeting. That's not the motion. The motion is an actual
Regina,
business
This is me talking.
workshop.
You said your
Yes, ma'am.
motion, but this is me saying my part.
Yeah,
So,
but I didn't get a second yet, so you,
I
so,
already did.
did you second it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Thank you. Go ahead.
okay, so if we go back to our workshop, because you have to realize, everybody here might not have jobs, but some of us do have jobs, you know, and then so I would ask that if we could go back to our 30-minute or whatever, 45-minute, whatever for our, for the commission meeting, that's where you do that at, in your commission meeting. It's the same, you already here, why can't we just do it right there? That's just me.
You putting forth an amendment, or
Well, I
you
would like to
good?
amend that, yes, that we can go back to our, commission meeting as far as having our workshops prior to the, cause you will have it already, cause the city manager will give it to us in our agenda. And so you already be familiarized with it, so then whatever you have you come to your workshop, you ask your questions. You know, you do it in your workshop. You already gonna have it a couple of days before your meeting.
In that amendment, are you talking about?
That's amendment. I would like to amend
I'm
that.
saying you're talking about bi-monthly, twice a month, or you talking about quarterly? I'm just want to get it
Quarterly.
clear on that,
No,
on the
just
workshop.
let's go back to having our workshop spirit, so when it come up, when that come up, we're already here. We're already here, and we can discuss our, in the workshop, whatever need to be discussed is in the workshop.
I advise us, let's address the quarterly, because it's going to take longer than 30 minutes. It would take a significant time, and if you want to address
gonna
the
do a real
workshops prior to
business
the meeting, you should do
workshop.
that.
You're gonna have, but, Mr. City Manager, you're gonna have this stuff almost about 5 days prior if the agenda comes out in time. And so even if they have questions prior to them, they can come see you, Mr. City Manager, what is this? So a lot of the questions can be answered prior
No, I'm
to you
just-
come to your
I'm just
commission.
Not a
addressing
business
the
meeting.
financial, the
That's what I'm talking
business
about,
meeting.
but you-
It'd
that
probably
should-
take
that
a
should-
couple hours.
That should also still be in your agenda, prior, before, we get it before the day of.
That would mean to start around 3. It's up to the commission. I'm just saying, if you're addressing the
If
If you're
quarterly
gonna have a
meeting.
real business workshop,
But
then
can we just
you,
have one just for that?
that's
That's
what I
what she's
just
talking
said,
about.
and then
not
she
mix
amended
with
it.
any meeting or anything.
She's trying to amend it.
Okay.
Every 3 months, we'll pick one day out of the month that we'll
Okay.
have a meeting.
Yeah.
Just like a commission meeting, but just it'll be a business workshop.
I'll second Commissioner Mervin motion. If it fail, then you go back to the vote of the original motion, which would be quarterly workshops.
An actual business meeting.
Okay, what was the exact motion?
The amendment is to go back to our original workshop. That's the amended motion.
But wait, you had a motion and you had a second for her,
And then she
Correct.
amended
and then
it.
she amended.
Right.
Yeah, and
So why
changed the
can't we
whole
just
thing.
Go through the original.
Because
first?
No,
If it
on the
doesn't
amendment,
pass it, then you're gonna
on the
amend?
amendment, you vote on the amendment first. If it failed, then you vote on the original.
Okay.
That's Robert rules. Any additional questions? Are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk. Yes.
Just for clarification, the agenda before the meeting is just, the workshop before the meeting is just for what's on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep that one in mind.
that's what the original thing was. It doesn't have a thing to
Keep
do
it
with
in
my
mind.
motion.
Keep it in mind.
So
yeah, keep it
I
in
just want
mind.
everybody to be aware of what they're voting on.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bowles,
Maybe
No.
you did.
Commissioner
Maybe
Gonzalez.
you did.
No.
Come on.
Don't
I
talk
can't
about
hear
your
the-
head
Sorry, I
We
can't.
we got,
down. Stand up and say it. Don't look around.
Commissioner
like you
Perez,
don't
we
Commissioner
got to
Perez.
be more control than that. Even if the audience out, I mean, for us to be commissioner up here, let's,
Do you
She's
hear
trying
what
to
the
pull-
man is saying?
She's
No, I
trying to
haven't
take
heard. I didn't
control.
hear.
He's saying maybe I kill Mr. Brandenburg.
What?
Who said that?
That's very disrespectful.
Okay.
Who said what?
Your future your guy that's running for commissioner, I heard you
He-
say it. Who said it? You said it? Oh, yeah, okay.
They-
You need to stop, y'all. That's silly. Y'all need to move on from that. That's stupid.
Commissioner Perez?
Commissioner Perez.
No.
Silly, man. Too grown for that.
So do we go back to the original motion?
The vote is done?
Yeah, the vote is done.
Okay. Amendment fails, we'll go back to the original motion, is to have quarterly business workshops. Call for question, hearing none. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Bowles,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
No.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Mayor Bab,
No. Motion passed by majority vote, 3-1. 3-2, I'm sorry.
Okay. I'd also like to announce tonight that a couple of companies have come to town and are now doing business in Pahokee, and will start to do some business in Pahokee. There's a gentleman who's going to open up out on State Market Road, and you should be hearing about that fairly soon. They have secured their contracts, and they will be dealing with the county and the state to get the city to get whatever they need to get that building open. And that should be about 100 jobs coming into the area. So he will
It's not the chicken shack.
he will be opening up, exactly. And he's already purchased his land, and he's already in the process of doing everything that he should to work with the county. I think that it's going to be a very good thing for our citizens. It'll be 100 jobs as they ramp up to the 3 shifts that they're looking to do. So we're very excited about that. He'll be contacting the city to do whatever he needs to do out there through the city.
Is it a chicken farm?
I want to say tonight that I think that this has been a tough week for us all. I think that the loss of the city attorney was a very big loss in our city. And I do appreciate you coming tonight and stepping in and giving us good advice. I felt like you gave very good advice. So thank you very much for that. I hope that everyone will go out and vote. It's going to be an important election, and I think that we all need to go out and vote. We all agree on that. So please, everybody, exercise your right to vote, and please go vote on March 8th. Thank you.
Thank you. And before moving to Commissioner Perez, I just need to make this announcement. We lost 2 pioneers in our community that had their funeral services on this Saturday. Mother Elsie L. Singletary and Mother Johnny Mae Banks, longtime residents that's have been a pillar of our community. I just want to acknowledge that and ask the community to continue to keep your prayers and thoughts for those 2 families. Thank you. Commissioner Perez.
Okay, I hope that from now on, we could continue to move forward. We did lose a big part of the city. The Attorney Brandenburg. My condolences to Dylan and the family, also to Elsie's family, and also to Mr. Banks' family. Our condolences go for all of them. I hope and I pray that we could find unity. The community, by most part, is united. There's a certain group that it's part of this resistance. It's part of questioning and fighting us on everything that we're trying to move forward. And we continue to get move forward, forget about the past, don't, but they continuously dwell on the past, continue to defend the past. You want to question everything to the minute things, and try to put these ideas on the citizens, in the community. All that we're trying to do, if everyone in this city wants the same thing, we all know what's needed in the city. We all know it. It's not about what we need, it's how we're gonna get it, how we're gonna do it, how we're gonna move forward. And all of us up here are committed to doing that. The thing is, stop fighting us. Stop fighting for things that are not worthy of being fought for. Fight for what we need to fight. Stick together, move forward. If we unite, we could be stronger. But, I mean, it's like, my advice to everyone that's listening, please vote. Your vote is your voice, is your power. It's you're telling everyone what you want moving forward. Okay? I know that there's as I've been told, there's fear in some of the community because you don't ask, they don't ask you if they could put the sign on your yard, they just put it, they tell you where to sign, who to vote for. That's, if you come and you vote in person, no one sees who you're voting for. So don't argue. When they come, let them do whatever they want to do. When it comes time to cast your vote, cast your vote. This is a very important election. We have made some leadway. Depending on how it turns, it could go back to what it was, or it could move forward, and we could have, a bright future. That what we want to do in this city. So, yes, what I'm asking you is please come out March the 8th. Come March the 8th and cast your vote. And all the characters that are involved, whether we're here or you're there, everyone in the city, we all been living here forever. So you know our character, our moral, who we are, how we've serviced, what we've done, what we have not done. We're not just, we didn't just come into the city and we're promising you empty promises. And, if you're running for office and you don't have a platform and all you have is attacking the rest of the people that are up here, that are up here because the majority of the community wanted us to represent them, then, the community sees it. That we got a very intelligent community. The reason it wasn't turning out the way they were voting is because we knew what was going on with the voting. Now, we're watching all that, so let's see how it's gonna turn out this time.
Commissioner Murphy.
Just a couple of things. Mr. Thompson, in the past, you talked about four-wheelers that was auctioned off, and I know one employee purchased one, and the other one, I know Mr. Brandenburg, you say person, you went and got it and brought it back to the city. Can you tell me where is that four-wheeler?
It's at my house.
So
We had closed bids, and I turned one in, and if that particular employee that got one didn't, I was withdrawing my bid to make sure he would, because he needs it. The other bids were $100 and $200, and I will not let the property go for that much. And I did say that I got that to sell it and use it as a fundraiser for the Centennial, but the mayor has turned me into the IG for that purchase, and I have not did anything with it, because I'm holding on to it until that investigation is finished.
If you do what you said.
Is that correct?
If you do what you said, that definitely would hinder on investigation of IG.
No, sir. You made a complaint on the way it was purchased, so I have not did anything with it until the IG does their investigation. So let me reiterate. These four-wheelers was purchased and let sit so long that the fuel in them dissolved. The city had to pay $1,000 apiece to have these fixed.
'Cause they were in the shop.
I got here in August, and they had been in the shop, I believe, since April or May. So we went and picked those up, and paid for them, because we were haven't paid our bills, and brought those back and auctioned them off to the employees. I was one of them. A resident was one of them. We withdrew his bid because he's not an employee. And it went to the top two. The top one was me. I was the top bidder. And I did that, as I said in the meeting, on the record, in the minutes. I was doing that to use that as a fundraiser. But when you pay the complaint to the IG, I have no other choice but to hold that until the investigation is finished.
Well,
So
hopefully
that's,
the investigation
Commissioner,
won't
that's,
take too long.
Commissioner, that's my,
So the
explanation.
four-wheeler is at your house.
absolutely.
So you don't think it should have been at the city? I'm just asking because the thing I'm asking about, whether they were in the shop and got repaired or not, you don't think they would have been used good in the city? I know they used to be used around the city when you used to have cleanup day or whatever, they used to drive around
Oh,
there.
I hear you. But many other commissioners have never seen them, didn't know they exist.
They can't, I
and
say, I
staff.
don't know who's to say
And-
that.
and
When
staff.
they were out doing the American
Yeah.
cleanup, they had to see.
I hear you, I hear you. There's also a golf cart that belonged to the prior city manager that's tucked away and, away from everybody else's eyes.
Well, that was in
So
the
you want an
city.
answer, that's my answer. No, it would not
Okay,
be
well,
better off
Mr.
here because
Thompson, wherever
I
it is,
legally
it's a
purchased that
city.
four-wheeler and it's at my house.
What I'm saying,
I'm only
those are
holding on to
city-
it for the investigation. It has no
Those-
purpose here.
Those are
I have the
city-
rights to sell excess equipment, surplus equipment. That's what we just purchased from the county. They made that decision. As a city manager, I have the right to make those decisions to sell surplus equipment.
Well, see, I don't have a
And that's what
problem
I
with that,
did.
but some of the
And it was
statement
put
you
on
were
a
making-
surplus, and come to find out, when we went to do inventory, there's no record of the city ever owning those four-wheelers.
Listen,
It was never put into inventory.
so what I'm trying to say, Mr. those are
They were.
they're cities.
They were.
So whether they were tucked away anywhere, but they're still in the city, whether they was in the city.
Your point
Even-
is-
Even the golf cart or whatever you
Your
want to
point
bring
is-
up, that was used when they had the parade, it was used. So anyone say they haven't seen it, it's not, it's fault. I was just asking.
Mm-hmm. Where it was at.
About where were the thing. Okay, the next thing I noticed today, the city vehicles in 246 East Main Street in the gate. So is Public Works moving over in that building while you is they being relocated?
Because
or-
I asked them to.
Okay, can you
It's
tell
a-
me why?
Yes, ma'am, it makes sense. It's secure with a fence. Where they
So-
were parked, they were not secure. They were outside of a fence. They were dilapidated. It wasn't running. So I asked
Okay,
staff to
so,
get, let me
my-
finish. I asked staff to get them running. They did so. Now they are parked in a secure area where nobody can get to them. I would hope you would agree with that that would be a prudent decision for a city manager to make to protect our assets.
So in other words, those vehicles are not there to be sold.
Correct.
They're there just for. to
There
be kept in the
there
gate.
isn't an Explorer there that I aim to sell.
So,
It is not worth repairing.
okay, so again, so those 4 or 5 vehicles that's in the gate, they're not there to be sold. They're there just for the, just safety from whatever.
That's what I just said.
Behind the gate.
But
Okay,
at-
I'm
But
just
at
asking.
any time down the road, I make that decision, I can.
But, okay, but you know, the reason I'm asking that.
Because let me go
decision-
back.
Wait a
I just,
minute, let me just finish.
there's a history here of selling off equipment.
But it was a problem
And we
with the
wanna do it
commission,
the
but it was a
correct
problem
way.
with the commission when it
You
happened,
know,
so now you're
the
doing.
prior city manager sold
Now
off
you're doing the same thing.
countless, no ma'am, no
Yeah.
ma'am. We have a
Mr.
record of
Thompson,
it,
Mr.
and we did it
Thompson,
correctly.
Mr. Thompson, you're doing the same thing.
So I don't know your point, Commissioner,
Mr.
because you're
Thompson,
going down a
I'm just
road. If
asking.
you want, you want an answer, I'm gonna give you an answer.
No, you're not letting me
Well,
finish.
I have sold 2 pieces of equipment, and we did it correctly. Those were there, put there
That's not what I'm at.
to
I'm
be
just saying,
secured.
but it was a problem
In the
before.
past, the city did not do that. The city sold off assets for
Neither
pennies
one
on
of
the
them
dollar
came, but they didn't come.
with
you
no
didn't bring it
record.
to the commission either.
And you didn't say anything about it at
You
that
didn't bring
time.
it to the commission.
I don't have to.
Okay, so that's the thing that they said before. The other one should have brought it to the commission. I'm just going by they said that one should have brought it.
But you have
Let
to
me
have
go
the
to next
correct
thing. So
process.
my next
And you didn't
thing
ask
is-
those questions when that happened.
I'm asking now, Mr. Thomas. So my next question is, I'm hoping that he brought up Miss Elsie Singletary's funeral from last Saturday. I'm asking, as she being the first African American first lady of the city, that they would get a full refund, because I think I've spoken with you about this, that I don't think that they actually should have been charged to use the cafeteria for their repast. So I'm asking that not just their deposit, that they can get their full refund because of her being the first mayor, African American mayor's wife of this city. Plus, she served on numerous of boards in this city. So we're asking that, I'm not sure, I think they told me the total, but I don't want to say, because I'm not sure of what the total was, that they can get a full refund from
Could you say how much they paid for it? I believe-
$675, but said take out the other two, whatever, so
I think they got it for half.
but I don't think it was half, because from her explaining it to me, you also charge them $50 an hour to go in early. So,
It's not 50 an hour.
And the thing is, if you read the contract, they get an hour anyway, but from the time before, if they're 5, they get an hour prior and an hour after. All I'm asking, that they shouldn't been charged anything. So I'm asking if I could put that into a form of a motion, Mayor, that we could please put a motion that we will refund the Singletary family their full refund from using of the cafeteria for Mrs. Elsa Singletary, which was the first African-American First Lady of this city. That's a motion I would like to have.
I'll second your motion. It has been moved by Commissioner Mervin and properly seconded by the mayor that the former First Lady of Pahokee, Elsa Singletary family, would be not charged for the use of the cafeteria. Call for questions.
I have one. What were they charged?
I believe it was half.
When you say half.
They
give
charge,
them
but the city charges if you come in for setup, because we have to have staff. That's a direct cost to the city. That's why the, Mr. Pickney does that. So that was an addition to the cost, and we gave them a significant discount.
But that's in the contract. That's what part I don't understand. It's already in the contract. They get an hour prior and then an hour after. So I don't know why they would charge an extra $50 an hour to
It's
come
not,
in.
it's not $50
But
an hour.
their total was $675.
I'm not gonna argue whether you should do it or not. It's up to the commission. I'm just clarifying, you're making claims that's not true. They're not honest claims.
The total
So I want to
was
specify.
$675.
It's
And
not
whatever you
$50 an
put-
hour.
The thing that you what you made as a discount, you added it on when you charged them for
No,
coming
ma'am,
in.
there's no bait and switch here. That's what happens
But
with
you
everybody.
added a fee that's already into the agreement of the contract, is what I'm saying. It's already into the agreement of the contract. You added a fee.
What's the rental fee?
There's an additional $25 an hour for setup, because some people will stay 3 hours afterwards where staff has to stay there. You know, it is our facility.
I never
We have to
seen that.
supervise
That's
what's
what
going on.
Past the hour, then it's 25
Or prior
an
setup.
hour.
Some people want 6 or 7 hours for setup. That, as we voted on these expenses, these costs, that is there so the city don't have any out of pocket. So you can charge a certain amount for the hour, but you may be out of pocket for 6 hours. So all this is to be responsible back to the citizens of Pahokee that we're not out of pocket. Now, this motion is to reimburse it. It has nothing to do with the cost, it's just reimbursing the cost.
Yeah.
But I want to clarify, there's no bait and switch.
And it's
Okay,
actually not
let's,
true.
We work with a
let's
family,
settle for that.
and it's
We're
not
gonna debate
$50
on
an hour.
that. But I will say this, in addition to Ms. Elsie, former Commissioner Diane died. So there was 2 funerals expense on this family within 3 months. So all the commission is doing is just asking on this particular case, because they was part of the city, technically, that we just reimburse the entire amount. That's what the request is for us to do.
Okay, I understand that. I just want to make sure. You have a contract to rent it. You charge a rate and plus a security deposit, right? And they have an hour prior and an hour prior to for setup and an hour after for cleanup, right?
I don't have that in the contract,
Yes, that's in the contract.
if she says so. She also said it was $50 an hour.
Well, that's what they told me. Well, anyway, yes, Perez, that is in the contract.
But the motion is just to reimburse or not. I just want to clarify.
I understand it's reimbursement. I want to understand how this, how, you how it works. Because if we're including an hour prior and after, then that should be included. If it goes over an hour, if they need over an hour for setup, then you tell them. Anything, if you need more than an hour to set up, it's gonna be $25 an hour.
Yep, but
Afterwards, the same.
that's outside the motion. The motion is just to reimburse the family.
Okay, in additional questions, roll call, Madam Clerk, for the
Commissioner Morgan?
reimbursement.
Yes.
Mayor Bab,
Yes,
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes?
Commissioner Gonzalez, Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
thank you. Motion passed by unanimous vote. They'll be reimbursed. Thank you. That conclude our commission meeting. I'll now ask for a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and second. Meeting is adjourned.